The following is a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.
Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, January 18th version of the Coach's Kage Show, live from Arnie's Pizza in Rensselaer on 3kgthecage.com. This is Bill K, joining with Bob Kurtz, and we got our coaches rolling in here, so we'll be ready to go. I want to give a little brief recap on some of the area games that have been taking place, and just to look at maybe standings. We have sectional draw coming up for the girls already, which is, Bob, that's just amazing. The girls' season is looking like right around the corner, wrapping
we
up.
Start 31st, I think. Don't they start?
The sectionals, yeah.
That play, so, yeah.
That sounds right. We did a girls' game last night. You can see right here, I'm sure, and the Rensselaer Central Lady Bombers had their way with North Newton, 79-24. That was their 19th win in the last 22 contests. They really rolled right from start to finish on that one. Other games last night, scores of interest included DeMont Christian improving to 16-4 in the girls' side with a victory over North White, 65-59. Lady Vikes fall to 4-17. West Central took it on the chin last night in another Midwest Conference game, losing to Faith Christian, 78-57. Lady Trojans fall to 4-14, while Faith Christian's on a roll this season, 17-3. Other area games,
About 10 minutes.
close one, or not so close, but a couple teams with very good records. Andrean, 66, Lake Station, 49. Andrean improves 17-3. Lake Station falls to 14-4. And North Judson knocked off Pioneer, which was a little bit of a surprise in my book. Pioneer came in 16-2. So they dropped to 16-3 now, and Judson improves to 12-7. That was a 59-52 Judson victory at Pioneer. On the boys' side last night, South Newton getting closer, Bob. Lost pretty much a heartbreaker to Cissna Park. They got into the 40s, but just not enough. They lost 46-40.
They're going to snag one of these
days.
nights.
South Newton falls to 0-12 now on the season. And Kankakee Valley boys with a nice victory, snap a short losing streak, 74-63 over Knox last night. KV at home improved their record to 4-9, while Knox falls to 500 at 6-6. Overall, we'll look at the boys first real quick. Well, first we want to remind you that we have games Friday and Saturday this week. Friday will be DeMont Christian at South and Newton. DeMont Christian is 4-6 right now. And, of course, we said the Trojans still looking, or the Rebels still looking for their first win. Then Saturday night will be, it's a change on our schedule, we'll be over at Rensselaer Central for the Bombers hosting West Central boys action.
Yeah, we messed up there a little bit, didn't we? We had two teams that have already played.
Yeah. So,
well, what do you expect with us? We're lucky to be at the right gym at the right time.
That's right. So other squads here, our local squads, just, again, KV 4-9. They, with the victory over Knox last night, they will be at Lowell coming up here on Saturday. That's their next squad. North Newton, surprisingly, rolling along at 500, Bob. I think it's a real nice season for
One
San
over
Zachary's.
even.
Yeah, that's how it's been especially the last 5 games. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. So that last one was at Delphi. Another heartbreaker. I know Sam's squads have lost some close ones this year, and it was a low-scoring affair, 34-31, and that was back last Saturday. So their next game is Friday night, and they'll be at Matt Zipkema's North White Vikings. So we'll chat a little bit here real shortly with Matt and his bunch. But the Spartans right now 7-7. North White 3-8. They will be coming in off a loss to Frontier, and that was last Friday night. And so they've lost 65-31. So they kind of be in a little stew on that one a little bit and have plenty of time to practice, though, before North Newton comes calling. That'll be a home game for the Vikings. The Rensselaer Central Bombers lost the Couts on Saturday night. That was kind of a disappointing one after they nicely knocked off West Lafayette in a close game Friday night.
Thriller, yeah.
One of their Hoosier Conference rivals. They beat them 46-43, but couldn't keep the momentum as they went on the road and lost to Knox 55-49. They are back in action on Friday night as they travel to North Judson. South Newton, of course, we said about that, told you about the Cissna Park loss, and the game coming up on Friday, which we'll cover live from South Newton. Join us here on 3KG, thekage.com. And Bob Kurtz with the excellent call, as per usual. They will also play then a week from Friday, traveling to Tri-County. So a couple of Midwest Conference games up on the slate for the Rebels. Tri-County, 5-10 right now, and they'll be coming off a win now. They won on the road at Tri-Township, formerly Lacrosse, and a nice victory for them, 45-33. And that was last Saturday. Last Friday in the game we saw right here, West Central knocked off the Cavaliers 55-51 at TC. So the Cavs return to action on Friday night in conference as they will travel to Frontier. West Central 6-8 on the season. The last game was a loss to Caston, 60-53, and they'll play Pioneer on Friday night coming up. That's your boys teams on the slate across the lineup here. We'll look real quick at the conferences. Northwest Crossroads Conference, KV is kind of right in the dead center of it, 1-1 right now. Munster on top, 2-0. Hobart undefeated, 1-0. Then KV and Highland both 1-1. Andrean 0-1. Lowell 0-2. Hoosier Conference, Bombers line up at second place in the Western Division, trailing Benton Central BC at 3-0. The Bombers 2-1. Central Catholic 1-1. And then Twin Lakes, West Lafayette bring up the rear, 0-2 each. In the East, it's Tipton up on top, undefeated at 3-0, followed by Northwestern, Cass, Hamilton Heights, and Western. In the Midwest Conference, a lot of our squads reside. North Newton on top. They've got the catbird seat right now, control their own destiny with a 3-0 mark. So I think they won it last year, didn't they, Bob? The conference.
This guy right
Matt?
here.
Oh, it was
Hang
Matt.
on.
What am I thinking? It was Matt.
Don't shortchange, Matt. Come
I
on.
know.
This year,
Jeez,
don't
Opie.
shortchange us.
Jeez, Opie. I'm sorry, Matt.
No, you're fine.
Anyways, the Spartans on top right now, 3-0. Frontier comes second. They're still undefeated, 2-0. Faith Christian at 1-1. DeMont Christian 1-1. West Central 2-2. Tri-County 1-2. North White 1-2. And South Newton 0-3. So that's our conference lineup as we look at it. And then just real quick, going over here in the sectionals for the boys. The 4A sectional with KV will be participating in over at Crown Point. A couple undefeated squads as far as versus sectional foes are Portage and Chesterton, but the overall marks, those two squads have the best slate. Chesterton 9-4 and Portage at 9-5. So definitely, I think that's a winnable sectional if KV can, start playing their
String
best
together
basketball.
a few wins, right?
Yeah, play your best at the end of the year. In Class 3A, Rensselaer Central, it's the Bombers at 3-2 in third place, chasing Benton Central and Western. They're both 3-0. Overall marks in that conference or in that sectional, Benton Central is by far the tops at 11-3, but Western 9-5 and the Bombers 8-5, close on their heels. At the 2A sectional in Whiting, with North Newton, the Spartans have not played anybody yet in that sectional, and everybody's chasing Gary 21st Century, who comes in 13-3 in the boys division there, 8-2 for Ileana Christian. So other than that, and there's a lot of teams real close in their marks, with Andrean and Lighthouse bringing up the rear. Andrean not having a very good season, Bob. They're only 1-9.
Oh, man, that's unheard of, really,
It
for
really
Andrean.
is. Our Midwest Conference squads, everybody will be battling it out and looking forward to getting over to West Central for the sectional 52 in 1A. And on top of that slate is Frontier, believe it or not, with a 3-0 mark against sectional opponents. West Central next to 2-1. But overall, again, it looks like a lot of squads really close in record-wise. 6 wins is tops. Frontier and West Central are on top with the overall marks with 6 wins.
It'll be a wide-open sectional there then.
DeMont Christian sectional, they're by themselves as far as local teams go, over at Morgan Township in sectional 49. And everybody is following the hosts there. They are 10-3 overall. As far as sectional games go, it's Morgan Township and Couts, both against sectional foes, 2-0. DeMont Christian 1-1 against sectional 4-6 overall. Why don't we'll slate in and do the girls before the first girls coach comes in.
Okay, we can just go right into Matt here.
Yeah, let's go into Matt. Come on. Matt, struggling year. You've got, how many games do we got to talk about since last Wednesday?
Just one since last week.
Just one since last week? You give us a little update about how that game went.
Well, that game is pretty disappointing all the way around. What we had talked about, we were coming off of two back-to-back wins, and even in our last couple of losses, we'd been playing, I thought, pretty solid, going by Tri-County and Twin Lakes. And we told the boys all week that you have to match the intensity that Frontier was going to bring. I thought we had a good week of practice, but maybe not as hard as it probably should have been. And we get out there and we hit a 3 to start the game. It's 3-0, and then they finish the first quarter 17-3. And then we get down 19-3, and they were the first team all season to kind of they played a boxing one on Dane, but that really didn't bother us or affect us. We got so many looks inside of the paint, from our dribble drives and crashing the offensive board hard. That was a big positive in the first half, but we just could not buy a bucket. And then, you look at it, and they got on a little run, and their fans, their players were just in the game, and we played that game in Brookston. It was like a throwback game, first time they've ever had played a game in the Brookston Elementary Gym.
What's that like?
Well, I didn't like it. I mean, not just with the score, I just didn't like it. But
is it small?
It's really small. I mean, but to both schools' credit, I mean, the crowd was outstanding, and it was loud, and it was a good atmosphere. But I just thought there'd be more with it. The festival was playing over there for being a throwback game. But anyways, we get down and we're only down 23-13 with 2 to go in the third or second. We're shooting free throws, and I'm like, all right, we weathered the storm, but our problem all year has been scoring, right? And I mean, if you can't score 50, 55 a game, and and it's 30 right now, it's just like you got to hold them to 10 the second half, and that's not going to be realistic. And we battled foul trouble. That was the first game of the season. And it's no excuse for the outcome of the game. The second half, we just got blitzed. I mean, we're down by 15 at halftime, and then I think they make 10 out of 13 shots in the third quarter. And one of the biggest things about a pride thing is like the running clock, right? So we get running clocked, and we end up taking a 65-31 defeat against the rival schools. That really, you look at your John Harrells and whatnot, and you don't compare game to game. But if you look at all of our similar foes and similar opponents, I mean, everything was within 4 or 5 points. So the Hoover boy played outstanding against us. I mean, he really was unselfish. But 30-point difference, no way. Not the competitor in me. And I told the boys, I'm like, what bothered me after the game was the fact that we didn't have enough boys upset they lost, and that bothered me. And that's something that I can't correct. They've got to correct it. And you go back to the game. But like I said, we're down without Brendan, but he's been out for 3 games now, so we've adjusted a little bit with that. But then Lucas Smith, our other guard, picks up. I think he plays about 10 minutes. They were all legit fouls, but he picked up 3 fouls. I ran him with 2 in the first quarter because we're down 15-3, and I'm like, we got to run him. Picks up his 3rd and
in the first half yet?
First quarter.
Oh, first
quarter.
Oh. Ouch.
And really, we brought Braylon up from the JV, and he's done really well knocking down a couple threes from the corner and whatnot and playing good defense, but he has not had to handle the ball, obviously, as playing a 3-guard. And with Lucas and Brendan out, he had to go and play, and they did a very pretty solid 1-3-1 half court with a lot of length. So, he had a young sophomore up there that never handled the ball, and it was learning experience for a lot of kids. So, but, after the game, like I said, Monday, I was just so disappointed in our kids' just their drive to you're going to lose basketball games, but how you take a loss, if that makes sense, against a team like Frontier. And we went back Monday, and we didn't even practice. We didn't go on the court. We just sat there, and I showed them on film the body language of our players. I showed them on film the bench when our guys were scoring and they weren't standing up. I showed them on film, this is what happens. This is what you may not be able to control the outcome of every game on the court, but there's a lot of things you can control the outcome of. And body language and attitude is key. So we just focused on that on Monday, and then we went back in the last 2 days. They responded pretty well, and we'll see. I mean, we told the boys, after the Frontier game, we said, our schedule probably has 4 of the toughest teams we're going to play back to back to back coming up right now. They all have different things they present, different problems at us. So it's a gut check time for us.
And you don't want to get in that habit of not caring if you win or lose, right?
Yeah. I mean, I said it a million times, and it's all cliches, right? But you're trying to develop young men that, in the grand scheme of things, it's like we're all going to fail at different things in life, right? And that's half of life is how you learn and how you bounce back and how you handle defeat. And, if you don't learn how to handle it, and with class a little bit and learning experience a little bit, but more importantly, it's a team game. And you look at different people as being like leaders and whatnot, and then you see how they might respond to different things that aren't going their way, and the players will feed off of that, positively or negatively, So not to beat the guys up too much, it wasn't even about the game, but I think we got that addressed. I believe we got that addressed, and going forward, it just, we have tough losses, and it just gets super down. They're low in that valley, and they don't understand. We'll be out of it soon. So, but like I said, we had a great last 2 days of practice. But I'm telling you what, the competition coming up is going to be really good.
I think that game against North Newton, boy, that could really be a battle.
It can be a battle. The biggest thing I think North Newton, and I tell Bob every Wednesday night, I think they're the better team in the conference, and you went over the conference records, and more importantly, you look at who they beat. They beat Faith Christian, who's only got 1 loss. They beat very solid West Central team at 2-2, and now they beat I forget who else they beat, but they beat the 3 teams outside of Frontier that are on top of the schedule right now in standings. So they're really in the driver's seat, and And with 2 losses, I mean, we can play like spoiler a little bit. I mean, it's going to be tough for North Newton to get 2 conference. They beat DeMont Christian.
DeMont Christian, yeah, by 4.
So it's going to be tough. But I told the boys at practice tonight, I mean, having the luxury, or having the, with winning 4 conferences in the past 4 years, and then also winning a sectional, I think the sectional has a little more weight on it. It's just my opinion. But I say that because I don't know. The boys have to understand they're still playing for something, right? And you said it, in our sectional, I think there's one team right now that's like above everybody else at the end of the day. But with their right draw, anything can happen. But we're not trying to get that far ahead. But I was just using that with the boys today at practice because there's a lot to play for, and keep your heads up.
So what's up next for the Vikes?
Obviously, we got North Newton, and I'm telling you right now, they are looking to take it to us. They are looking, and I said this last week. I said this on Saturday over the Monticello's radio broadcast. I said we were blessed with a really great team the last few years, and there were a lot of 4 quarters that my boys didn't see the court, and we would get up by a lot. And they don't care if those names aren't there. They just know it happened to them the last couple of years, and it's payback. And that's where our boys have to understand. I try to teach, and we want well-rounded, good, polite young men, but we want you to be disgusted with your opponent inside the lines in a clean way, if that makes sense. We want you to be angry. We want you to be upset, and we're just like, oh, what if it happens? It happens. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, well-behaved kids, good kids to talk to, but do you have that instinct? And but North Newton, I mean, reminds me of a team they had 2 years ago when they battled us. They're physically big, and like I said, we saw Hoover play a great game last week against us, but I put Hoover and Gagnon up there as the top 2 players. They had 2 different style games, but very, very good players, and it's our only home game this whole month for us. It's a boy-girl doubleheader. So crowd will be big. It'll be girls' senior night that night. So, I mean, it's going to be a big crowd there. We have to play for, and the boys would have to just step up and take on the challenge of playing an undefeated team and a team that's looking to gun them and hurt them,
Anytime you can get in your home court, boy, that gym gets cranking. And
it has, and like I've always said before, and even this year, I mean, every year. I mean, I've been affiliated with North White for 15 years, one way or the other, and we've had some lean years, and it's always blue and white across the way. I mean, it's just like, and not just at North White. We travel well, too. I mean, it can be, we're going to Rochester next week. We're going to Carroll next week. You're going to see blue and white there, and it's just like, it's a great feeling to be able to have that.
Do your kids take advantage of that and, feed off of that a little bit at least?
Well, the biggest thing is, like, I think any team feeds off of any type of run, right? And, I mean, the crowd comes with the run sometimes. And we just haven't had a situation. We had a nice 4 or 5 game stretch where even if we didn't win, we had those runs, right? So when we get the runs, we get the crowds. But the kids sometimes, with our lack of scoring, sometimes I don't even know what we're going to get from week to week. Now, to their credit, our defensive effort has been, we gave up 65 the other day. But, man, we played hard. And after it was like to a point where I didn't think we could win the game, from a coaching standpoint, we started doing things that we've never done in practice just to see how it would relate to film. So we threw a lot of different things on them. But I'm ready to play them again.
How tough is it coaching this year? You look at your offensive average, 42.9. You had such great shooters. B.J. Spry last year, up and down your lineup, guys who could just light it up. And you don't have them this year. You got, everybody's got to, I'm sure, work harder for their points.
Yeah, I'm just blessed with 2 good coaches. I mean, every coach probably says that, but I really am. And Coach Smith has been around everywhere as assistants and head coaches at 6-7 different schools. And he even told me coming into this year, you're going to coach harder than you ever coached in your life for what win you get this year. And, all we can do is just keep working with the kids to stay positive. I don't, sometimes kids don't understand, but it's just like you're putting 5-6 new pieces together, but that's just the way it is. It's why you also have summer times to work on it too. But it is frustrating when, even in a lot of coaches will say it, but foul shooting, we're shooting 40% from the foul line. A lot of teams are shooting. There's 2 games we lost by 10 this year, and 6 for 20 from the line. And I'm like, man,
Well, Matt, that's so.
even if you made 7 or 8 of those, it puts pressure on your opponent. Now, when it's a 4-point game or a 6-point game, to execute every time down, whether it's a 14-point game, if that makes sense. So it doesn't translate into you're going to win the game, but you got to think. You got to make kids know, people know when it's a 4-point game or if it's a 10-point game. So
why is that
keep
so
working.
contagious? Poor free throw shooting. It seems like this year, every squad, every time we go to a game, they're hovering around 50%.
I think the two things is you see when you go watch some more games, you watch how much they rush it. When I say rush it, I mean the ball. If they're taking 2 shots, the ball will be off their hands and they're already back off the line. And they're fading away off a free throw, or they're going to the side, or they're just rushing this. And then you got to be mentally strong enough to knock it down. I mean, you can practice it all you want. Just go up there and knock it down. Not always easier said than done, but you would expect. And I told the boys they were doing some free throws. I'm like, at the varsity level, at any level, 1A, 4A, whatever, you would expect your high school boys to knock down 60% of these free throws. Game or no game. But keep working.
All right, Matt, we'll let you go. I appreciate you coming in, and good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday, all right?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt Sipica from the North White Vikings, back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117. Or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizza. Bill K., Bob Kurtz with you on the weekly Coach's Cage show. Looking ahead, looking back a little bit, and really enjoying our time with the area coaches. Appreciate them so much. We also certainly appreciate Beth and all her fine staff and crew here at Arnie's. They just, I think they're dishing up that great pizza, Bob, and that's part of the reason we keep our coaches coming back.
That's right.
Maybe.
Got to lure them in with food, you know.
Oh, boy. It's, you can't beat a meal coming here at Arnie's. And best salads, sandwiches,
Anything you want.
You name it. Hey, real quick look at the girls go around here before we get in with Brian Heimlich of the North White Lady Vikes. DeMont Christian has a really glitzy record this year, Bob. 16-4. We saw them earlier in their gym, and 3 games remaining. They just knocked off North White in a close contest, 65-50.
A lot of scoring there.
Yeah, it was. That was last night. Then they will battle Gary 21st Century on the 19th. So that is Thursday night. They're back in action. Kankakee Valley Lady Cougars, talk about glitzy records, 15-5 in 4A here this year. And they'll be returning the battle off of 2 straight wins. They knocked off Munster in a huge game in their conference, 64-54. That was a big win for the Lady Cougs last weekend on the 14th, and they return to action at Andrean on January 20th. So that's Friday night. North Newton Lady Spartans, saw them last night right here on 3KG, and they have been stringing the losses, unfortunately. And they will battle next with North White on January 20th. So North Newton is 3-18 right now. North White struggling after the rebuild year, after a big sectional championship last year in Midwest Conference crown. 4-17. This squad is running at right now. 3-game losing streak they'll try to shake off as they host North Newton on Friday night. Rensselaer Central Lady Bombers, the victors last night at North White, big time, 79-24. They'll play in the Hoosier Conference crossover game against Lewis Cass this Friday night. They will entertain Lewis Cass, so that'll be nice. The Bombers come in at 10-8. South Newton struggling this year. The girls' side, they have picked up a win though. Back on January 11th, they knocked off Gary 21st Century. So that was good to see they finally broke that streak, Bob. They are now 1-15 and will play tomorrow night as they host Attica, the Red Ramblers. Tri-County 10-10, straight up, and 2 games left on the schedule for the Lady Cavs, and they'll be at Delphi next on a week from Saturday, or this Saturday, excuse me. No, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong month. Tuesday night is when Tri-County comes back to play. Their last game was a victory against Clinton Central, 57-46 on last night. They knocked off Clinton Central. West Central, 4-14 overall. They will play hosting Pioneer. They lost to Faith Christian on the road last night, and will play Pioneer this Friday. That was a quick recap of what the teams are doing individually wise. We'll look at conferences real quick. In the Northwest Crossroads Conference, KV still lining up at top with Andrean. They are battling it out here. Both 4-0 in conference play. And after that, it drops down to Highland and Munster, two lost teams, 2-2. Hobart 1-4, Lowell 0-5. Andrean 17-3. KV is 15-5. So a couple of real good records. That entire conference is rolling this year. Highland's got 14 wins. Munster 15. Hobart with 11. Even the bottom dweller, Lowell, is only 3 games under 500 at 9-12. In the Hoosier Conference, where Lady Bombers reside, they unfortunately haven't won a conference game yet, 0-4, but their mark is 10-8 overall. And that conference is so tough, Bob, that that conference has won 70% of their games.
That's
overall.
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, 132-56 if you add them all up. But Twin Lakes is on top of the West Division this year, and they are just rolling everybody. They're still undefeated. At 4-0 are the Lady Indians. Follow them up as Central Catholic at 3-1, Benton Central at 2-2, West Lafayette 1-3. In the Midwest Conference, Faith Christian is the only undefeated squad right now. The 16-3 Faith Christian squad is 4-0 in the conference play. DeMont Christian 5-1. North White is 3-1. So that's a nice mark that they have really done well so far in conference play. Tri-County 4-2, Frontier 3-3, then followed up by West Central, North and South at Newton. Sectionals wise, 4A starting off in the Lowell sectional. KV has a 3-2 mark against their sectional opponents. Of course, 15-5 overall, but you have to see a prohibitive favorite. We saw them earlier on 3KG, Valparaiso, and they're still rolling along at 19-1. I believe it was Penn that knocked them off, the only team. But, boy, they play a lot of defense there this year. In the Benton Central sectional with Rensselaer, it's the Twin Lakes will be there at 20-0, as will Western and West Lafayette at 14-5. Bombers are 0-4 against sectional opponents in that one. In the Andrean section 2A, where North Newton resides, it looks like they're going to be chasing Andrean. It comes in at 16-3 overall, and Lake Station comes in at 14-3 overall. Lake Station is 3-0 against sectional opponents. Andrean has not played a sectional opponent yet. The Spartans 0-1 against sectional opponents so far. And in the Tri-County sectional, you got Caston up on top with a 3-0 mark against sectional opponents. Is that right? 19-0 overall? Yep. I didn't realize that Caston's undefeated.
Yep.
Boy, they are rolling.
Probably in the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah.
Poll-wise.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh Pete. Hey, you guys are second place against sectional opponents at 3-1 mark. So, other than that Caston, we can get Caston lost, lose their way, don't show up. Maybe you guys would be the favorite choose. And the other sectional we'll look at real quick is Couts sectional. That's DeMont Christian will reside, and they got a 1-2 mark against sectional opponents there. Looks like teams will be chasing Couts, the home team, at 4-1. La Crosse comes in at 3-1, and Washington Township at 2-2. But the overall marks are really good in that sectional also. With DeMont Christian's got the best with 16-4. But Washington Township's won 15 as Tri-Township or La Crosse, and Couts with a 13-6 mark. All right, Coach Brian Heimlich, thank you for your patience. Let's chat a little Lady Viking ball.
Yeah.
What do we have to recap in the last week?
2 games this last week. We played last Thursday. We went over to Twin Lakes, who's having a tremendous year this year, and so we knew it was going to be tough for us over there. So we switched up defense a little bit. Everybody knows we're primarily a zone team, especially this year with our depth and stuff. But then we went man against them. We felt that was the only chance we really had because they've got so many weapons on the outside, and we battled with them pretty good for the first probably 12 minutes of that game. I think with about 3 minutes to go, we were down 9. Felt pretty good. We had some missed opportunities, offensively, and then just in the last 3 minutes of the half, we turned the ball over, I think, 3 or 4 times, led directly to layups, and we go down 20 at the half, and because we felt we could keep it within that 7, 8, 9 point range. We felt pretty good because we were really competing with them, and they're such a talented team. They got talented guards. And
what makes them so good?
They've just got multiple weapons offensively. I mean, they've got 4 girls that can really shoot the basketball outside, so you got to guard them, and then they can penetrate too. I mean, you just got to guard them all over the court, and so they put you in a lot of mismatches, and a couple of them can shoot deep too. I mean, you've got to guard them. The Nickerson girl can guard. I mean, she can shoot it 5-6 feet past the line, so you've got to be out with her. You can't go under screens at all because they're gonna knock those down. And I thought we did. Defensively, I mean, she ended up with 10 on the night. And Ward, who was their 3rd leading scorer, I think had 6. But Bousman's their point guard. She's averaging about 15, 16, and she had 21. I mean, there's just so many weapons that you got to try to defend, and unfortunately we couldn't do that. But I mean, there's a reason why they're undefeated right now and one of the top teams in the state. So I felt like our effort was really solid that night. both offensively and defensively. I said we didn't convert some. We had some. I thought we had the advantage in the post, and we just didn't convert in there a couple times early, and then turn the basketball over. Their pressure got to us a little bit as well, but it was good. It's good competition for us. I mean, it prepares us. I've said all year we played. We play one of the tougher schedules I think in 1A. And we've played that schedule this year with some injuries and such, so it's kind of hurt us, throughout the middle of the season, and so we're starting to get healthy, and so we're trying to just fit everything back together and see if we can here the next couple weeks, especially we got 2 games left before sectional, kind of get that rounded out, and then be ready for sectional.
Brian, who played well for you at Twin Lakes?
It was I think Tessa was our leading scorer. I thought defensively, I thought Autumn Rife, we put her on the Nickerson girl, and I thought she did a good job. No help. She just face guard her. She's a post player, but she's such an athletic player that we just put her, said, hey, you got to just defend her, just stay in her face, and she did a good job. I mean, the first possession, she went under a screen, and Nickerson stepped back and hit the 3. But then after that, we told her, and I said, looked at the coaches, I'm like, she hasn't had to do that this year, and she adjusted well the rest of the night, and I thought she did a really, really solid job there. And Morgan Carter, I thought off the bench did a nice job as well, and and Tessa has been that solid force for us all year, and then Abigail Spry is just starting to get back into the groove after being injured so many games. I thought she handled the ball with the pressure that they were putting on us. I thought she did a good job handling the basketball. So then last night Covenant Christian came over to our place, and it was a back and forth battle. I think it was 15-12 at the end of the first quarter, 33-30 at the end of the half. They were leading.
Those are normally your final scores.
Yeah, I mean we were scoring the basketball, but we weren't defending like we normally were. I mean, we were giving up. It felt at halftime. I told the girls, it felt like it was like our feet were stuck in concrete or something. We just weren't moving like we do normally, and just kind of letting some of their shooters, have wide open shots. They knocked down, I think, 5 threes in the first half, and we weren't out on them. And their size was giving us some problem. And the boss as a point guard, I mean, you don't see very many 5'9", 5'10" point guards, and if she gets in the lane, she can shoot over us, or she can see over you too to find people to pass to. And so if we weren't being active in that back row, she was finding people kind of behind us, or they would cut in front of us, and they were kind of scoring at will. And I told them at halftime, we can't allow another 33-point half, or we're going to be in trouble in this game. And they scored 32, so it was we just couldn't put enough points on the board. We had the lead. It kind of went back and forth in that third and fourth quarter. I mean, we had lead at times, they had lead, and every time it looked like we might get a little bit, we got 3 or 4 point lead, they'd come down and get a 3-point play or a offensive rebound and put back. And then I said, I think their size really, I mean, they're about 5'9" to 5'11" all across all 5 of them. And that we're not that, and you got to really find people and box out, and just didn't make enough plays. But it was a very competitive basketball game, fun game, I think.
Your high watermark offensively.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that was good to see. I thought offensively they played a zone majority of the time. I thought we moved the ball about as well as we have against the zone all year. I think Autumn is starting to come into, she's just she's learning things, and she passed very well out of the high post area. And then, Tessa and Abigail knocked down some threes. We had some kids off the bench. Kaylin Applegate came in and gave us some minutes and got a big bucket for us in the third quarter. But defensively, it was just a little disappointed in our effort. Callie Hunt too was another one in the first half. I think she had 8, and that was, I think, she struggled at times offensively and sometimes just doesn't have that confidence. But she knocked down, about three straight shots and 2 threes, and so she played well offensively for us too. We just need some other people to score for us, because I mean it's usually Abigail and Tessa, and then we just got to find those others that can knock down an open shot when you get it, and hopefully this kind of opens the door for some others to get going, get some confidence going into these last 2 games that we have coming up.
What's up next for the Lady Vikes? And
yeah, so we have our senior night on Friday night. North Newton comes over. It's a boys-girls doubleheader. So last home game of the year, and so we're hoping to come out. The varsity plays first, so it's a little different than most nights, but hope to come out and have a good night in our last home game of the year. We always get a great crowd. We have the band director does a great job, and those types of things. And seniors, we want to send them out with a win as well in their last home game.
How many?
We got 4 seniors.
Who are they?
We have Tessa Robertson, Abigail Spry, Callie Hunt, and then Katie Stevens. So we got 4 seniors, and so we want them to go out with a win, and then get some momentum going in, because then we go on the road to Frontier next week, so 2 conference games too. So that's the big thing. We just need to get some momentum going, get some confidence, because we have struggled. But I think I told the girls today, I mean, kind of showed them our schedule. We've had some injuries. To stay confident, we've competed in a lot of these games. We just haven't made enough plays. But our opponents' records. I was on the Herald site, and it was, we have, as far as opponents' records go, it was the 6th best in the state. So,
wow.
I think one of our losses, which is Rochester, I think has a losing record. All the other losses, the teams are, we have 2 undefeated teams we played with Caston and Twin Lakes, and
you played KV
we played
too.
KV. There's been we've played a tough schedule. We know that,
and you like that.
But I think it's good for us in the long run. I really do. I didn't anticipate it with the injuries that we had, and that kind of hurt us in that stretch. But I think our girls have stayed positive. They're still working hard. We haven't lost them. They're still still playing and going out, and because sometimes when you get in losing streaks like that, it can go south in a hurry. But I think our girls have really stayed positive and kept working. So it's been real solid. So.
JV Lady Vikes.
Yeah, they kind of went through a stretch, before the last couple games where we had some injuries, so we were only to play a couple quarters here and there. But the last couple games, Twin Lakes, and then last night we were able to play full games. They lost both of those, competed very well, in those games, but they struggled from the free throw line. I think last night they lost by 6 and missed 15 free throws. But so we'll hopefully, we got two left, and they can get a couple wins here to end the season.
You got some girls that'll help you coming up from that squad next year? Yeah,
we do. There's some girls that I mean they're going to have to make some improvements, obviously, but there are a lot of freshmen. I mean, it's just freshmen and sophomores, and we got some quickness. I think it'll be a little different team than what we've had in the past. We haven't had, we've had a little more size, but these guys are a little more athletic. So,
do you start thinking about the sectionals, draws coming up Sunday? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean you do, because it's coming up. You just got to do what you got to do when it comes out. But obviously you want, with Caston in there being where they're at, you hope that they're on the opposite side of you and you don't face them till the last game. But I think you say that, but Tri-County's been playing very well lately. West Central has, they don't have many wins, but they play hard every game. They're competing just as hard as anybody. So I mean it's. That draw can mean anything. You just got to go out and play. I mean,
you
that's
played
the big thing.
Caston pretty well, didn't you?
We did. I mean, we played them a long time ago, second game of the year. But yeah, we did. We played them. I thought we played them very well. We had, we had chances in that game. I felt like, we were young at that point too. We were still trying to work some things in. So, anything can happen when you get to that time of the year. That's why we just need to get some momentum going into that. So these next 2 games are very important for us, I think.
So in a 6-team sectional, 4 teams play and then 2 get the bye, is that?
Right, and the 2 bye, they play the winners of those other games. It used to be, when I first started coaching, how many years it's been changed, but it used to be the 2 that got the bye played each other, and then they've since changed that. So where they play the winners of the.
So you want the bye?
Games. Well, yeah, I mean, you only have to play 2 games when you get the bye. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
there you go.
That's usually the best thing for you.
Put Caston
You only
on
have
the
to-
other side.
You only, I mean, obviously, and we haven't had the bye very often. I mean, I don't know how many. I think in 19 years, I think I've only had the bye maybe twice. So, sometimes that's not a. It's nice just to get out there and play that first
Sure.
game, get those jitters out, and go play. But so we'll see how it goes on Sunday.
All right, Brian, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it. Good luck this week, and we'll talk at you next Wednesday, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Brian Heimlich from the North White Lady Vikings, back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student-athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizza. Bob Kurtz, Bill K. with you here from 3kgthecage.com. And joining us now is Brandon Bradley of the Kankakee Valley Lady Cougars, the 15-5 Lady Cougars, doing in the midst of a wonderful season, coming off of 2 big wins. Overtime affair at North Judson last week, and then knocked off Munster here 65-54 in a big one in the conference. That really was huge, wasn't it, for conference play?
Yeah, they came in 2-1. We were 3-0 at the time, and the only team they had lost to was Andrean. And knowing that we have Andrean coming up this Friday, if we for any reason would have fallen to Munster, then we would have been fighting for a 3-way tie for first. Instead of now we have the opportunity, if we can put it together and win on Friday, now we can win outright. And same thing for Andrean. That's what's at stake on Friday now. It's a true championship game, if you will, just because both teams are 4-0 entering their last conference game of the year.
So the girls, before we talk about last week's games, let's look ahead a couple days here. And girls are really getting excited about this one.
Yeah, and they today, I made a comment to one of my assistants. I wasn't sure the tone of practice where it was, and I said, "What do you think?" And I said, do we look sluggish? Do we look, like we're, just trying too hard? He said, I just think we're really focused. He said, I think they finally have something there that they're, trying to go get, and they're really paying attention. They're trying to be very detail oriented, and they're almost making mistakes in practice today because they were trying to be, trying to perfect what we were doing through drills and running offense and defense and those kind of things. So really like where they're at right now. I told them today, one of the things that I like the most about this group of kids is they're just very real. They're honest with each other. They're honest with us as coaches. They're just very genuine kids, and those are some of the most fun teams to coach because you always know what's going on and I think we they might think they could do a better job, but I think we actually just from a interpersonal standpoint really communicate well and get along pretty well and it makes it a lot easier that way. So
how's the health of the team overall?
We lost 3 kids early in the season for the year, and so that's nothing new. But it seems like every game or every week we've got somebody different going down with an ankle injury or something like a shoulder or what have you. And
you don't want that this time of year.
Yeah, well, early in the year we were playing 10, 11, 12 kids. More recently it's been more like 9. But the good thing is we do have those bodies and. It's just nicks and a little bit of illness here and there. At the same time, very, very, I don't know what the word is other than just really respect the way these kids don't complain. They just show up to practice. They show up to play. Just the mentality. If I'm here, I'm here. We had a girl, and I won't mention her specifically, but we had a girl with an ankle the other day who told me, I don't feel sharp pain and it just hurts, just sore, so I'm going to play through it. And, like you kind of really respect that toughness and that approach to it. And, we obviously don't push them through that. We have a very, very good athletic trainer and we wouldn't play kids if they were truly injured. But when they want to play just through pain and bumps and bruises and more power to them for being that tough. So a lot of kids today, man, they use whatever they can to take a break.
Well, why don't you take us through last Saturday's game against Munster? That was a huge Northwest cross.
Well, there were a lot of things going on too. That was our senior night.
Oh, okay.
At halftime of the varsity game, we also honored the 1995 sectional team.
Yeah.
So they had that going on. And then additionally,
they all come back?
Yeah, well, most of them, I believe.
Most of them did, yeah.
They actually, after the
cool.
game, watched that game in our cafeteria as a group. So that
wow.
was kind of neat.
That's cool.
But then additionally, early in the fourth quarter, our senior Lily Toppin scored her 1,000th point of her career. So
awesome.
That was pretty neat. What was fun about it was, if you go back and watch the video, she didn't know where she was, and she didn't want to know. Those were her specific instructions to me, to her parents, to the kids, But we had a couple of girls that were every week monitoring max preps. And so they were counting during the game. And it's really neat because it came on a free throw.
Oh, really?
And she shoots this free throw, and all of a sudden she gets mobbed, and she's like trying to figure out why, And I had to call a timeout because we had kids leaving the bench and stuff, and I'm like, crap, we're going to get a technical if I don't call a timeout here.
Those 1,000-point scorers don't come around very often.
No, she
do
is
they?
the seventh in our program, which is good. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
a big number,
Yeah.
but. A lot of great girls basketball success over the years. And
any of her sisters?
Bree.
Bree
yes.
got it. Okay.
Yep. So the oldest of the 3, against the same opponent.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But as far as the game itself went, we went to Munster last Tuesday to watch them play Crown Point, and I thought that was very beneficial because I know where our girls' minds are when it comes to Crown Point, how much they respect them as a program, and for them to see Munster live and see them battle Crown Point down to the end, it gave them a realism of, man, they're pretty darn good. We're going to have to prepare. We're going to have to be focused. And you don't always get that on film, just watching film. And we came out, and some of it was senior night adrenaline. Some of it was just preparation, focused. And, we jumped out early. We were up 20 at halftime and controlling tempo, taking care of the ball, found weaknesses within their zone and their zone press and really exploited it. And then the second half, we turned it over a bit more. They turned up. They played with more of an urgency, obviously, but there were times they'd make a run and then we'd kind of hold them off, and they'd make another run and we'd kind of hold them off. And I thought we did with all the emotion of the night. At one point somewhere late third quarter, I think the adrenaline wore off, and you could see legs start to go. Even as deep as we are, legs were starting to go, and there was a stretch there with about 3 or 4 minutes to go where I was a little concerned, but then we made free throws and just held them at bay and did a really nice job of closing the game. And that's one thing about this group this year that's different than last year. Every one of our close game, anything single digits, has been a win this year, which is really, really good. Wow. Knock on wood.
What is your free throw percentage as a team?
Not good.
Oh, no. Okay. Join the crowd.
But in the fourth quarter, it's better. But we, I think 61, 62%, something like that.
That's better than most, actually.
Yeah, we'd like to be closer to high 60s, 70%, right in that area. But, this group having multiple close games down the stretch, being able to take care of the ball. Like Benton Central was a game where down the stretch we had to take care of the basketball and kill some clock each possession. Chesterton similarly, Highland was a close game for us. Hanover Central was really tight through 3.5 quarters. Judson 2 weeks ago was an overtime game, but to finish those games, I don't think we really had that consistently last year. And, all 5 of our losses have been double figures, and to elite, 4 of those 5 teams are in the top 40 in the Sagarin. So, you're talking about some of the elite of the elite, right. Teams in the state. And even with those games, it's been one bad quarter, and it's the message we're trying to send there, getting ready for the stretch run for Andrea for next week, and then for the sectional is, some of these teams down the stretch, man, you can't have that bad quarter, because you can make up 5 or 6 points against just about anybody. You can't make up 10, 12, 15. And so if we can escape that one quarter against those elite teams, and that's something that, Friday their Andrean is incredibly good defensively. We cannot get in a 10, 12, 14 point hole. That's going to just be tough to dig out of, and they'd rather win 30-29 than 70-60.
Really?
That's just kind of how they play. And I'm anxious to see the score. They play Benton Central tonight. And I bet the joke is it could be 12-11 at the end, the way both those teams defend. So we know it's going to be a grind on Friday. And, we've been preparing for just this game specifically. And again, for me, I think we talked about this earlier this season. This year, my second time around, my familiarity now with these opponents and these coaches and knowing what they like to do, and I think that's a big advantage now that we have a game plan even further in advance in practices and stuff, than maybe the day or two before, and so that's really helping going forward. And those kids, man, they love it. I have teachers, I have administrators tell me these kids are watching film in class, when they get their homework done and stuff.
Really?
And,
that's great.
Or when they're teachers' aides, they sit in there and watch, film while they're doing those duties, and so that's kind of cool that they appreciate it. And we type up obviously thorough scouting reports, player personnel, sets they run, defenses they run, all that kind of stuff, and then walk them through it with film. And they take notes, man. They ask, last week I get to film and one or two of the girls are like, "Coach, do you have a pen?" And I'm like, "I don't." and I'm like, "Crap," It's cool that they take that much pride in it, though. They truly
certainly
want to win as a group, and they're really appreciating the things off the court that it takes to get there.
Are they close as a group?
Yeah, I think so. We've done a lot of social activities the last couple of years, and they want more, and so I just think I love watching them laugh with each other when it has nothing to do with basketball. If they're making fun of me, that's fine. But, like last night we went to our boys' game, and they had the Champions Together stuff at halftime. And but just regardless, I show up and they're giving me grief because they've never seen me wear jeans, and it's like,
It's anything to get on the
Yeah,
coach,
I mean,
I'm sure.
Hey, they're not as soft as sweats and shorts and, but it's just funny that, we all, now everybody's got inside jokes and even the coaches and, we have fun with them too. And so, we have a good time all the way around. And I think these kids would be this way whether we've won 15 games or we won 5 games. I just think that's their personalities and, and it's a tribute to their homes too. They've got really good. We've got a really nice, good, supportive parent group, and those kids, man, they're well behaved, well man. I mean, most of our kids were participating with the event last night with the Champions Together stuff,
Wow.
and so it was kind of neat. We had I think a half dozen of our girls out there signing the national anthem. And that kind of. I mean, it's awesome. It's and we talk to them too, and I don't know how much of it they really understand, but this team's more than just basketball. It's about all these other things that they do, and that's who they are as people. And we really encourage them to be themselves, to have a voice, have an opinion, and really just if you want to do something, be you. Go out and be you. Don't let anybody tell you how to act or who to be, or obviously act appropriately, but just be an individual. And that's hard to do in a team sport a lot of times is to have people that can see that difference, and so but
that's so important. It's funny you bring that up. I was watching the Cubs convention last weekend, and they had this big panel of all the young the rookies coming in and AAA players, and then they were taking questions from the audience, and this little tiny kid comes up, and she's so funny. She's very confident in everything she said, and she wanted tips for how she can get to be where they were at their age, her age. And to a man, they all said, be you.
Yeah.
That was such a number one thing that they told. Don't give it up. Have fun and be you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we talk too about we can't want it more than you, as coaches, and it's not about being what we like. Yes, within a system, within a position, within a skill set. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're talking personality wise.
Right.
Don't change who you are for anybody. Like you're the ones out there playing. You've got to appreciate it, enjoy it, those type of things. And even then, kids. I deal with kids a lot that go to college to play, and it's like, listen, man, your family's not the one going there for 4 years. Your friends aren't the one going there for 4 years. You've got to make the right decision for you, so you're not miserable. Find the academic studies that you want. Find the school that best fits your personality. Do they have what you want intellectually? Even from a faith standpoint, like all those things, like it all matters. But you've got to be the one that's happy. And that's kind of the same thing with our team, man. If you're not enjoying yourself, then we've got to figure out what makes you happy. How can we help you, get there?
Coach, who stood out in that Munster game for you guys?
Well, our senior guard Kate Thomas has been playing really well of late. She had 21 points. I'm trying to think here, 6 assists and 4 steals.
Wow, what a game!
We got her going downhill against their pressure. They played I don't know, it kind of morphed as the game went on, but it was somewhere between a 2-2-1 and a 1-2-2. And we got her the ball in the middle a lot, and she was able to just attack downhill, and that quickness there once it got past their guards, I thought really hurt them. Toppin she finished with 10 points, again hitting double figures, and Olivia Plummer, one of our junior forward, was really big for us. She had 12 and 7 rebounds, and I tell you what, that's one of the most productive interior 5'7" kids I've ever had. I mean, she plays extremely hard and battles inside, and so those were our 3 double figure scores. I just thought, all in all, especially when we needed it, we got big rebounds, we got big stops. A lot of that's team more than it is just an individual, but it's we're doing some really good things, making extra passes, cheering for each other, those kind of things. And
it's important, isn't it?
Absolutely. To be successful, absolutely. So, that's like we talked a few minutes ago. I mean, we told them about Friday. The one of the things that's a little bit more important than just success is just being real, be you, and so we don't want them to feel pressure going into Friday. I mean, it'll be there, obviously. It's a big game. We're not going to hide from that, but it is another basketball game, and that's how you have to kind of take that pressure away. You're prepared. You've done this your whole life. You know how to dribble, pass, shoot, and defend. Why is it going to be other than your opponent changes? They're a little better. They're a little more skilled. They're a little bit more disciplined. Okay, well, let's be that ourselves too. And so that's what our focus has been this week in practice.
Did you go over the North Judson game or no?
That was last
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How about Toppin, Thomas, who else is seniors this year?
Lady Capillary and Faith Mugger.
Okay.
And
So
those
big
four.
senior night then.
Yeah, and those four. What's great about it is they've all played the last 2 years. And played good minutes. And Laney's been great. One thing she's done really well this year as a wing is she's our best offensive rebounder.
Really?
Yeah, and she just has a real knack of, she sees a shot go up and she gets inside people, and she's gotten a lot of fouls drawn, a lot of layups off of offensive rebounds. And then Faith's been outstanding because, we lost our junior post, Jenna Hayes, back in November for the year, and Faith stepped right into that starting spot and has been just solid, Nothing super high, but nothing super low, just steady, very disciplined defensively. Always plays with a great motor. Sometimes she'll have 8 or 10 points. Others she'll have 2 or 4, but she's always got 6, 7, 8 rebounds. Rotates very well defensively, and it's just nice to have that group of seniors, but then also the 8 juniors, and just to have such a maturity to our entire roster, and those juniors, the ones who, there's a couple that played more than others last year, but all of them now are getting to that point where they're comfortable within what we're doing. They're comfortable in their own skin too, and everything's kind of just fallen into place where we're very versatile and deep, and I think that has helped a lot, just having 9, 10, 11 kids each night, that there's not much of a drop-off, and helps with our stamina, especially we play teams with 6 or 7 kids. I think that's why we have strong fourth quarters and finish games better.
What's ahead next week, then?
Next week, Tuesday night, we are at Rensselaer.
We'll have that game on 3KG.
And then Thursday, we host Portage in our final home game. So that'll be a tough one. Another, DAC school, and they're always competitive, and whatever we get in the sectional. So,
how's Lady Cougar JV team?
They've been doing really well. We went through a stretch there over the holidays, but it was because we were banged up, and so we had to move so many kids up full time. That, but they're 4-0 in the conference too. So They technically Friday will have a JV conference championship game, if you will. They can be 5-0 after Friday night as well, and they take a lot of pride in that.
Fans out there, come out for the doubleheader.
Absolutely,
Make sure you don't miss
we
that
need as many
JV
people
game.
there as we can get in that small Andre and Jim. But it's funny. Like, we'll have kids that split quarters, and the ones that are in the locker room getting ready for the varsity game, they'll leak out and watch the end of the JV game to make sure that they won it. And they take a lot of pride in that, and it's really neat to see. So.
All right, Brandon, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week, all right?
Thank you,
Brandon.
Brandon Bradley from the Kankakee Valley Lady Cougars, back with more. The Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com right after this.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask. Give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizzeria, Rensselaer, Indiana, home of some of the best pizza you'll ever have. You're joining us now with the weekly Coach's Kage show on 3KG, thekage.com. Bob Kurtz, Bill K. Joining us now, Ryan Harrington of the Tri-County Cavalier Boys Squad. Coach, welcome, and thank you for coming by again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate all your very loyal group of coaches we have, and we appreciate you guys so much that you really make this show what it is, and it's a lot of fun for us, and hopefully you guys have fun too.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, tell us a little bit about what the Cavs have been up to. I know you're coming in off a win, which is awfully nice, at Tri-Township now, not lacrosse.
Yes.
Still lacrosse, isn't it?
Yeah.
They didn't change the gym any, did they?
They did, actually. They updated the floor. They got the new logo in there and everything, so
okay.
they updated
All
it. They kind of have the Texas Tech logo, but they still got the same school colors. They're still green. They're still the Tigers, but, so now they're Tri-Township. A little bit different, so... Yeah, fun trip up there.
Take us through who you played, and you played West Central.
West Central.
West Central, yeah, and you guys had that game obviously. So if the viewers watched that, they saw we kind of struggled, especially in that first half, to score the basketball. The first quarter we were held to only 4 points to their 15, and so dug ourselves a hole there. Which if you've paid attention to our season, we've kind of been good at that, unfortunately, and. I got to give a lot of credit to our kids, though. We really fought back really hard, the whole game. I mean, it was tough, down there 11 after the first quarter, down 8 at the half, going into the fourth quarter, we were still down, 9 points. So I just kept telling them if we keep fighting hard and getting our offense quickly and, before they can set up into their defense, we're having a lot of success. And, we had kind of talked about that here before we got on air. I just felt like I got to give a lot of credit to West Central. They did a great job of when they got shots, they didn't miss a lot. They shot 50% from the floor Friday night compared to our 33%. And that was really the difference in the ball game because we got up 62 shots to their 38. And we had 20 offensive rebounds. So there was plenty of opportunities for us. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to score that night. Now, I say all that. Kobe Baylor did score 22 points, and he was 72% from the floor, from two-point range specifically. He didn't make a three, unfortunately. But Kobe really did shine in that West Central game, even though as a team, we didn't necessarily have a lot of success scoring.
The Aiden Smith.
Aiden White.
Aiden White.
Yes.
He's a handful, isn't
he? He is. He's a very good guard for them. He's got, he's really shifty, really good hesitation dribble, and, he puts a lot of pressure on you because if he beats you off the dribble, even if your help steps up, he is so great at finding the open man, and he really did that on Friday night. The Hughes kid off the bench for them, number 52, was able to score 14 points. So, again, a guy that's on the lower end of scoring for them is able to step up, and that's kind of the difference in a ball game. If we weren't able to hit shots, they were, and all the credit goes to them for that.
Seems like you would have had a fifth quarter. You guys would have caught
Yeah,
them.
well, and that's what I was kind of hoping for. I told him when we cut it to 2 there at the very end with about 8 seconds left, and I called my last timeout, I said, hey, if we get a steal, just have all the confidence, make the shot, and if we get this to overtime, we're going to win this, So, unfortunately, they were able to inbound the ball there, and we couldn't get a steal and had to foul, and they knocked down both free throws, and that's the end of the ball game. But, like you said, if we were able to get it to extra time, I really liked our chances because we were definitely coming back strong.
Who played well for you?
I mentioned Kobe Baylor scored really well, and then the other guy that had a lot of points for us was Nate Corbin with 17. So those two guys, 17 and 22 from our 2 leading scorers, we really needed that because, unfortunately, some of our other guys struggled that night. Eric Zarzi went scoreless, and Will Getz, another guy we've been starting recently, only had 1 point. So when you got 2 starters combined for 1 point, it's kind of tough to win games. And, again, we only lost this game by 4 points. So we're right there in it. I'm going to say the words I don't love saying, free throws. We were 7 of 20. So, again, you lose a game by 4 points. I've named a bunch of ways. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's awful.
It is. So, and the kids know it. I mean, we've been frank with them. At the same time, there's only so much you can do. Going into this game last Friday against West Central, we had really emphasized free throws all week, and then we come out and don't shoot good. So, trying something different this week, we just let the kids, instead of conditioning them and making them shoot, we just said go shoot 100 and keep track, and just trying to hopefully get that repetition and just get them to calm down and knock down the shots, because at the end of the day, we need those points. I mean, this isn't going to be the last game we're in, hopefully, that's this close, and that can be the difference between winning and losing.
Coach, talk a little bit about Nate Corbin. He's your go-to guy, I would think, but he obviously 17 points, but for him, he seems so close to breaking out and being one of the top players in the conference, top players in Northwest Indiana. He's got it all. He can dominate down low. He's got the outside shot. Yeah. Of course, free throws seem to be one of the bugaboos with him too. But other than that, he's just what's holding him back maybe from just really taking over.
Sometimes Nate just doesn't, he plays a little outside of himself because he knows he's capable of a lot. I mean, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself too. And, that's what we've tried to help him understand is, emotionally you got to stay in the game and stay engaged, but then also just keep getting to your spots. There's been a couple of games this year where teams can't guard him on the inside, and he just needs to keep going on the inside, He falls into the same category as a lot of kids. He's definitely not the only kid on my team that falls here, but he would love to bury threes, and he is very capable of it too. That's the thing. So sometimes it's a struggle with him as far as helping him to understand that when he's got the size advantage to use it. So it just kind of goes back and forth. But the other thing that holds Nate back, and he scored 17. He could have scored more, but unfortunately he fouled out. So sometimes, a lot of the time, he guards the other team's best big guy. So we really challenge him not only to score for us, but to play defense. And, sometimes you get in that situation where he's in foul trouble. So, that holds him back a little bit too. But it's like you said, it's only a matter of time. I mean, it could be any night. He could really go off. I think, Kobe Baylor's another guy that falls in that same category. He scored 22 points, but it's the same thing I knew he would tell me when I told him, hey, you shot 71% from 2, you couldn't miss from 2. And the first thing he said was, yeah, but I was over 5 from 3. So, he holds himself to a high standard, and he's another kid, if he starts knocking down those shots, and I mean, we've seen it before, he can definitely do that. That 22 points could easily go over 30 as well. So I think both of those guys definitely have that potential. It's only a matter of time, really, before they really break out. And if they both break out, then gonna be in business.
All right, let's talk about Saturday night then.
So Saturday, quick turnaround. We got to go up to Tri-Township, like we've said, formerly lacrosse, and definitely a tough environment to go into just from a standpoint of it's a really small gym. There's not necessarily a lot of fans there, but when you pack them in like that, it gets loud. You get a good
You got to
atmosphere.
watch yourself on both ends, don't
At
you?
both ends, you got the stage on one end, and the other end, you got doors that are padded. But, we're going to talk about it in a second. Sometimes it doesn't matter that they're padded. But again, we came out really tough first quarter. They came out hitting some shots early on. They hit 3 threes in the first quarter on us, and I was a little worried because I'm just like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do here if they're going to knock down these shots? Because similar to the night before, I felt like we were getting good contests. They were just knocking down the shots, but we responded well just like the night before. We go into the half down 6, and I just talked to the boys about just being calm, coming out, doing our stuff, and we're going to take care of business if we do that. And we came out hitting there in that third quarter, and we were making some big hustle plays. Playing in that small gym, something that I've always really liked to do is to press, no matter what, because it's so hard when you're taking that ball out of bounds and your back is on the stage, and you see there's the defense.
Step up on the stage, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get the same spacing that you do in a normal gym, so we're pressing them and throughout the whole game. And at one point, they're getting a fast break, and Connor Ross is going full speed sprinter mode, and he gets a tip away and then proceeds to just run straight out of the door at the end, which was pretty entertaining. We got it on video too, so it was good stuff because he goes straight out the door, and from my point of view, all I see is him hit the door, which it stairs down. It's not just walking straight out. You're going down to the outside. So I just see him jump, and then the door closes behind him. And about as soon as it closes, it comes flying back open, and he's sprinting back in the gym. So
I bet his teammates didn't give him any grief on that.
No, well, here's the thing. We got the steal. He got the tip. When Zarzi picked up the ball, we go down the court. Zarzi passes it forward, and Kobe Baylor got an and one bucket while all that's happening.
4 on 5.
So, yeah, exactly. It was quite the play. And the really crazy thing about it is that's the play that gave us the lead. And you want to talk about a momentum shift. That was a really big one for us. So that gave us the lead. Kobe was able to hit the free throw along with that. And from then on out, we didn't trail the rest of the game. We went into the fourth quarter at up 5. It was 30-25. And we just talked about, now's the time to take control of this. And they have to guard us now. I've talked about in the past, like South Bend comes to mind. They really stretched the floor and just stood at half court with the ball in their hip and just waited for us to guard them until there was a count. They weren't doing anything, and so that's what we did. And the boys really embraced it. At first they were kind of looking at me like, you really don't want us to do anything? And I said, now I want to score, but they have to come guard us because they had been sitting back in a zone the whole game. And I'm just like, that's fine. Well, now that we got the lead, you have to come out and guard us. And once they did that, we were able to get some really good passes. And that very first possession there, we probably passed it around for over a minute and a half, and we ended up getting a layup from Nate Corbin. And you could just tell the demeanor of the Tri-Township players really changed once, we were able to pass the ball around for about a minute and a half and just get a wide-open layup on it. And, that's really back-breaking for them. So that was a huge moment for us. And again, overall, I was really proud of the guys. The other one the name that stands out more than any that night was Eric Zarzi for sure. He scored 18 points after 0 points the night
what
before.
A nice comeback, man.
He had 4 steals, 3 assists. I mean, he was incredible. And, he was really frustrated with his performance the night before. So to see him turn around and put out a performance like that and, at one point kind of put the team on his back in a tough environment. It was really incredible to watch.
That shows a lot of character. Boy.
Absolutely. And, again, Eric's a guy that could do that more often. I think if, he continues to play the way he's capable of, we're going to be a really tough team to beat, even if, if we get our, 17 from Nate, our 22 from Kobe, and if Eric Zarzi's scoring 18, shoot, who you're going to guard?
What's up next for the Cavs now?
So we only have one game this week. We will be heading to Frontier to play the Falcons, and it's actually their homecoming too. So that'll be Friday night.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've won 6 of their last 7, I believe. So they've been on a nice little win streak there, and again, a conference opponent as well as a sectional opponent. So kind of one of those teams you got circled on your schedule because no matter what, you're going to have to see them. And, again, these kids know each other well. They compete in other sports. every time we go over there or they come to us, just like a lot of these other conference games, it's going to be physical. It's going to be emotional, and sometimes it's the team that holds their composure and adjusts to how the refs are calling the game that wins those games. And, I mean, that's fully what I expect. I just know no matter what, that's going to be a great game. They've got the Dayton Hoover over there. He's probably one of the best players in the conference. So it's probably him and Gagnon if we're going 1-2 as far as who's the toughest guards. So he's going to really challenge us. And then they also have the Schroeder kid on the inside who's a handful. So
and next week for the Cavs?
And then next week we host South Newton. So big rivalry there obviously as well. And that's a Friday night. So next 3 weeks, actually, we only have 3 total games.
Now, you played a lot of games.
We've already played 15. So
that's a bunch, right?
Yeah, it is. So we kind of get to slow down things a little bit here, get some more practices in, and focus in on what we need to do to get ready for the sectional.
Give us a JV report.
The JV's been playing really well. I think we're at 6 straight wins, I believe, 6 or 7.
Wow.
They've
looked
really
good Friday night for sure.
Yeah, they've really come together. That's for sure. Again, Coach Brooks obviously knows what he's doing with those boys. We got a group of 5 freshmen that are really playing well together. And then
you're going to get some help from those guys.
I think
in the
so.
near future. I bet.
And the thing is those boys want to be good and they want to be helped. They ask a lot of questions. We're watching film the other day, and they're up there with the varsity, and I got some of those freshman boys raising their hand asking questions about what Frontier's going to do. So it really speaks a lot to their character and how bad they want to be basketball players. Some of those names. I got Clayton Atkinson on the inside. He's about a 6'4" freshman. I mean, he's got a lot of potential. And then we've got triplets in that grade that I've mentioned before, so that definitely helps. We've got Trey, Nick, and Drew Foster, so those 3 boys, and then Tyler Burns, which would be my assistant coach, Chad Burns. That's his nephew, and then we also got Noah Dallenberg, who's a sophomore, who also plays a lot with those boys, and that group of 6 are kind of the main group that have been playing. There's a couple other mixed in there with Noah Pratt and Ethan Dreblow, and just really awesome to see them come together and embrace the style of play we want to play. And like you said, I think they can step in the near future and help us.
Because you don't have many seniors, do you?
We have 4 seniors.
4?
So
that's more I thought.
Nate Corbin is going to be our big loss. Will Getz, like I said, he's been starting for us recently. Those 2 are kind of the main seniors. But then we also have J.P. Shimmerhorn, who comes off the bench as in a guard role, and then also Sammy Bunjan. So We've got 4, but again, we've got those 2. Nate and Will play a lot, and JP gets in there a decent amount for us as well. But we're definitely going to miss Nate when the time comes that he does move on at the end of the season. But I don't like thinking about that. So
you will have a lot of good competition on that team for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
playing time
again, and you see it sometimes in practices. Especially these last couple weeks, we've been getting after them, trying to pick up the intensity, and it's been nice to see them challenge each other in the practices, because we've tried to explain to them that's just how you get better, and you help carry it on to the next generation. We've talked to these seniors about setting that example for these freshmen so that they can improve upon where we've been and just keep building the program.
Ryan, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Thank you, Ryan. Good luck at Frontier.
Ryan Harrington from the Tri-County Cavaliers back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com after this.
Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Joe Goodeman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodeman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodeman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117, or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Coach's Cage on 3KG, thekage.com. Joining us now is Kankakee Valley Boys coach Bill Shepard. And, Coach, you had a nice win last night. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, it was a good ball game for us. We, as I joked with some people, it took us 13 games, but we looked like we know what we're doing.
Tell us a little bit about that contest.
Well, it actually all stemmed from Friday night's loss at Twin Lakes. I mean, we go to Twin Lakes on Friday night, and I mean, we go down there with a game plan, and Twin Lakes is going to play zone all game long. So we go over some things we want to do against their zone, and I tell the kids, I mean, no matter what we do, we're going to have to hit a few threes, and it just I don't know what it is about my team, but whenever I say something, they take it everything I say they take to extremes, and so we go down there with our 6'7" center and our 6'5" power forward and stuff like that, and Twin Lakes is the tallest kid, 6'1". And granted, I mean, even though you still got a big time height advantage, you're gonna have to hit a few threes still. And we wind up shooting 38 threes, and it's like,
boy, that's a bunch, man.
I know, and I'm like, and we did hit a few, but I'm like, we got 6'7", 6'5", and their tallest guy is 6'1", and I just don't understand why we cannot use our advantages that we have and really we have that advantage every night.
Is there any time in a game like that you just tell them, look, you can't shoot a three, work it in, or can you do that?
It's like I said, I can, but then they take that to an extreme because I've told them to look to get the ball inside before, and they'll force it in there when it's not there. Well, you told me to throw it inside. Well, yeah, but there's 3 guys around the guy now. He's not open. And it's just, so it's just trying to find the words to make them understand that, you don't have to do this, but this is where you should be looking, and this is where your advantage is at.
Right.
So, after the Twin Lakes game, we came back and I just felt really bad because I didn't think we'd been making any progress. And, and our defense has always been pretty good this year. And I thought that it was good in the first half of Twin Lakes, but I finally thought that our lack of offense finally, I mean, these are high school kids. It finally got to them where it affected their defense. In the second half of Twin Lakes, it was just like we're not hitting anything. And it took. To their credit, they held out mentally for many games, and it just eventually it finally got to them where their defense let down.
Who played well for you that night?
Twin Lakes. Well, Cam Webster had 20, but one of the things I talked to Cam about was, up until this Knox game that we just had, he's been scoring, but he's not been efficient. It's been 20 points on 22 shots or whatever. Everything's been very difficult, and I told him that, I brought up a couple kids he knows, like AJ Lux from Crown Point had 38 against I can't remember who he played. Michigan City, but he did that on like 15 shots, and there was like 15 free throws mixed in. And I told him about. That morning, I saw in the paper where Portage's guard against I can't remember who they played, but Portage's guard had 25 on 11 shots. And I'm like, you got to be that efficient. You're shooting way too many times to get the points you're getting. And I said that's on him, that's on us, that's on a lot of things. But I told him, I said I think it's because we're not using the inside guys to our advantage to make your life easier. And then, so I talked to him on Saturday. I talked to 2 kids on Saturday. I talked to Kim, and I talked to Hayden Days. And, they're my 2 3-year starters, and I was just like, so I talked to Cam about being more efficient and how we can do that. And I talked to Hayden about, listen, man, you're a 6'7" center. You've been starting in the post for 3 years. And, I mean, everybody thinks you should be scoring a lot of points, and he is the most unselfish kid I've ever seen. And it's like, if you watch a college game, the ball goes in the post, and 95% of the time it goes up on the rim. Man, you throw the ball into Hayden, 60% of the time it's coming back out. And it's like,
haven't watched Zach Eady.
Yeah, I know. And, it's like, why? I mean, he is one of our biggest advantages, not just height-wise, but, 3-year varsity, 6'7" center. I mean, he's one of our biggest advantages every night. And he's passing to first-year, third-game starting guys. And it's like, no, you've earned your stripes. You got to start being selfish. You got to start making some shots, or at least shooting the ball. And, these other guys got to earn their stripes like you had to. And so Saturday at practice, I did not allow him to pass out. Every time he touched the ball, he had to shoot it. So we're scrimmaging against the JV, and second time he touches it, he passes out. Yep, get Hayden, get him out. And I'm like, I told you, if you're going to pass, I'm just going to sit you over here. And, after that, he dominated in practice, and he dominated on Monday in practice again. And Tuesday night comes along against Knox, and, we got it inside, but not only him, but my 6'5" junior all of a sudden decided he might as well join the party, and so against Knox, Hayden has 12, but you could have had 20. He just missed some bunnies inside, and he was over 5 from the free throw line. But then my 6'5" junior had 17, because, hey, we're working. Well, then all of a sudden Cam has 26 on about 10 shots because it's now easy because we've established the inside where we're better anyway, and now your job is so much easier outside. So,
now you got to continue that, though.
Well, I think the light bulbs came on last night, this is how it's supposed to be, because, a lot of people want to push the ball to the court and run, and shoot. And I'm all about that, too. I love that. That's exciting ball to watch. But when a couple of your most dangerous guys are your big guys, if you can't get a transition layup, well, you're going to have to wait for the big guys. You're just going to have to wait for them because they're your advantages, and you got to play through them. And I think last night they saw what it could be and how much easier it could be if they played through those guys. And the big guys were a lot more selfish last night, and they got the ball up on the rim a lot. But, you could just see us wearing them down as the game went on, and the lane just opened up more and more for people, and things just became easier. And, at the end of the day in the locker room, I'm like, we didn't really fast break a whole lot at all. We scored 74 points, which is, we had a 68, I think, against Andrean, but other than that, 74 is far and away our best offensive output. And I said it's because you came up with a plan, you utilized your strengths, you played off your strengths instead of just willy-nillying it. You played off of your advantages, which are those two bigs and Cam. Because Cam's a 3-year starter, too. So I told Cam, I said, you're a 3-year starting guard out here. You should have this game figured out. You should be able to know where you're scoring from. You should be able to know how to get your scores. It shouldn't be so hard on you. Like he was making it very difficult, and I'm like, you should also know to use the big guy. If you got a big guy, every guard should know to use that guy. So, we'll see how it goes. But I do think, you can see in the locker room, I think some light bulbs turned on. So we'll see. Today's practice was great. You can see the concerted effort of we're getting it in. So we'll see if it maintains itself. Because nobody, even in our sectional, nobody's got those two guys like we got down there. Just nobody does. So they might have one. Knox had a 6'7" kid last night, a senior, 3-year starter. Okay, we got 2. So we just continue to pound it in there, and that'll eventually open up things from the outside in the second half. So really good game last night. I was just very happy that I joked about it, but it's true. We looked like we knew what we were doing. And that's. I hope they continue to look like they know what they're doing.
Next stop at Lowell comes in just 2-11 game. Maybe you should win if you look at record-wise, but that gym's always a little funky. That it's just different.
Well, and we have a tendency because of how we used to play to the level of team that we're playing. It's like I told them after Twin Lakes, their assistant coaches now their AD. Came up after the game. He goes, what's going on with you guys? He goes, and he was honest with us. He goes, you guys are clearly better than we are. And I'm like, I don't know. I said it's just the way we are. It's just the way we play, and it's, I mean, if we were playing Munster that night, we'd have played entirely different. But we were playing Twin Lakes, so we play this way.
Like the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, and it was, but that's because I think how we were playing and not doing what we needed to do to go through our strengths and stuff. I think if we would have played with that kind of determination to get the ball inside and go through those guys all year long, then our 4-9 is probably reversed. You want to let kids live and learn some too. But then there comes a time where, I told the coaches back here, after that Twin Lakes game, it was I'm drawing the line in the sand. That's it. I've tried to, beat around the bush a little bit and tried to do suggestions here and there, and it's just nope. Here's the 3 guys we're working through. Like against Twin Lakes, and I got a sophomore that is going to be good. But he came up, Bobby Lalonde, he came up from JV. His first start was against Munster, and so Twin Lakes was his 3rd start. And like I said, he's going to be a good one. He's got all kinds of skill and knows his basketball and stuff like that. But against Twin Lakes, Hayden Days, who's my 6'7" center, shoots 5 times the whole night. And my first year sophomore, who's third game starting varsity, Hayden's got as many years as he's got games, and he shot 11 times. I'm like,
should be reversed.
I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, why is this kid shooting more than double you? No wonder we're not winning. Sure. And the kid can shoot. Don't get me wrong. But come on, man.
You can't expect that.
This is the guy. These are the guys that you got to work through. We got to get these guys here going every night, and then you guys can just follow suit after that. And we were not doing a good enough job of getting that crew going every night. And that's why you see the scores you see of, hey, Munster we play pretty well, and this team we don't play very well, and we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. I think if we can do what we did against Knox, I think we'd be a lot more consistent every night in, night out, and we'd be a lot tougher out. But like I said, we'll see what Lowell brings, and we'll see how we operate up there, and we'll see if we come with the same mindset, the same we have to do this, and we have to play through this, and if we do, we're going to be just fine. It was a good game last night. We just kept building throughout the game. Just didn't have any of those moments where it was necessarily scary or anything like that. Just kept building throughout the course of the night.
So just one game this weekend then?
Yep. Yeah, just at Lowell this weekend, and then we got a double weekend the following weekend with home against Highland, another conference game. So we got back-to-back conference games, and then at Portage, which is obviously a sectional opponent. That section I heard you talking about earlier. There's good teams, but there's not an overwhelming record in there. You don't have your 20-0 Chestertons. And like last night, Chesterton just barely stunk by a Hobart team that doesn't have a very good record. That was at Chesterton. So it just depends on when you catch them, and if we can maintain what we did last night, we're going to be a tough out for any of those teams because we're hard to match up with if we play like we did last night.
JV Cougs, how are they doing?
They're doing pretty well. They wound up. They've kind of gotten that rut the last couple of weeks. Their last couple of games, Twin Lakes and Knox are playing like we were playing, like to the level of who they're playing. So they've won, but it's been a couple of those where you probably could have. This 4-point win should have probably been like a 14-point win.
What's their record now?
9. What are we? We're 4-9. They played one less game than we did, so that would be 10-2.
10-2.
So they're doing a good job. They're doing real well. I think what I've heard through the grapevine is Lowell's one of the better JV teams in the conference, so the Saturday should be a pretty good game for them. And then we'll see how they do after that and go from there.
Bill, thanks for the time. Appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you next week, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Bill Shepard from the Kankakee Valley Cougars. Back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com right after this.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Nah, you got to give a really big intro like this guy.
He always jumps the gun. I tell him every time when the music plays, we're going on the air.
You got to give a big intro like this guy does when he does.
One of our favorite parts of the show, no doubt. Hey, it's Wes Radke time of the Rensselaer Central Lady Bombers.
Everything livens up now, doesn't it?
Hey. I'm just trying to figure out how these guys get out of practice so early to get here before I do. And I'm in Rensselaer.
They have an hour ahead of start on you, you know. Most of them do.
I guess. Holy cow.
These poor
you
girls
could,
you brought, they're
now,
someone practice in the morning?
But they decided they wanted to come tonight. I'm like, nah, it's going to be a while. They're like, okay.
Wow, okay.
I don't feel sorry for them.
Well, they've been waiting on you patiently, so. Hey, big win last night, and it's keep the string going against North Newton. And now your 19th win out of 22, I believe. Sometimes you just got other teams' numbers, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes you just I like to have all the teams' numbers, but it doesn't seem to work that way with some of them. So, but yeah, it was a good game for us last night, and good
79 points, man.
Yeah, good to get double-digit wins. You know, it's something that you know, I don't really talk about myself too much, but as a coach, I try to pride ourselves on every year that we try to get double-digit wins, and I think that's something that, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but we've accomplished every year since we've been here. So that's something that the girls are really, you know, bought into and trying to fight for every year and year in, year out. And it was nice to get double-digit number 10 last night.
For a while there, I didn't think you were, you know, your shooting to start out with was kind of atrocious.
Yeah, it was not
so many layups. Jeez.
Yeah, it was not good, and we've done a lot of trying to do a lot of drills of finishing and a lot of shooting drills, just a lot of those things. And I'm like, man, this is not turning out well. And then that second quarter, it just
snapped out
boom.
of it, didn't they?
Yeah, it just snapped out of it, and I guess that's why they're kids. That's why they're teenage girls, and you know, you got the highs and lows with whoever it is and whatever it's going on. So it was a good to see them turn it on like that. So hopefully we can keep doing that and quit giving me heart attacks and more gray hair and giving Kurtz more ammunition to fire against me to get me to fire my shooting coach.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
he's probably he probably wants to come in there with his free throw shooting camp.
Yeah, for a fee, I'll do that.
He's always talked about that, going around.
Oh my gosh!
He wants to compete with Rick Mount, I think. Coach, that was a 29-point second quarter last night, if I can remember my statistics, and about 70% from the field. Boy, that you got to be able to can that and bring it back.
Yeah, that's what we told the girls today in practice is we've got to. That's something we have to build off of. We got to get to that level, that all the time, and then shooting better free throws. You know, we only shot 50% last night, and I realized we only shot 12, but you got to make those. We have to be able to do that. Whether it's 5, whether it's 25, whether it's 12, we got to hit more consistency in that, and got to get better than 50%. I mean, because we hit 50%, we hit 12 out of 12, then you're talking even up in the 80s as far as the score goes. When you get to the free throw line, you got to put them in, and it's that old adage, and everybody knows it. Games are won and lost at the free throw line, and we've had some of those this year where we lost the games at the free throw line. So it's something we keep harping on and keep working on every day in practice, and we just got to keep working at it, not give up on it.
I think we missed over a game, didn't we? The West Lafayette game.
He doesn't like to talk about losses.
Yeah.
We gotta slip back into that.
But no, I'll go back to that one because in all reality, it was a really close game. I mean, we really played well, especially in that second half where, we kind of locked them up and did some really good things and played hard. And we didn't have the best game in the world, but still, we battled hard with West Lafayette, and they had some quality players. And again, that was just one of those. Again, we shoot 50% from the free throw line, and we've got to stop fouling. They shot 25 free throws. We have to be able to get better at that, and that was something last night we've been really trying to emphasize with the girls is we've got to stop fouling, especially when you're 90 feet away from the basket and they're out of bounds. Don't foul them when they're out of bounds, and we've got to get better at that. And I know I say that tongue in cheek and laughing, but there's times I feel like we're fouling them out of bounds. We don't even have to. So we've gotten a lot better at. I won't say a lot better. It's only been one game, but we're really trying really hard to really focus on that aspect of the game where we beat ourselves when we do that. We put teams at the free throw line, and they knock them down. We are doing that to ourselves. And that game in particular, again, West Lafayette, they're going to hit their free throws, and when we put them to the line, they made us pay for it. And, we ended up losing that one in a hard-fought battle, and it just got away from us in the conference game, and so we just had to learn from that and get better. In that game against West Lafayette, Taylor and Carly both really struggled. Just had a hard time with fouls. They both were in foul trouble. Just had a hard time, getting things rolling there. And Sarah Kaufman had 9 points, and Cameron Rowland had only double figures in 10. And then you get Brody with 2 coming off the bench, and Brody really battled. Their inside girls, Karloftis, battled her pretty good, and because Drone had gotten in foul trouble, so Karloftis is a senior for them, and she's a load inside and a strong kid, and so for
related to George.
Yes, sister. Yes. So you see the genetics there. I mean,
I can imagine.
And so throwing Brody in there against her, and Brody held her own against her, which was good. And it just was a really hard fought battle game. Had a great crowd. A lot of my 5th grade students came, and they were cheering us on. So it was a good atmosphere. But we ended up losing 31 to 43, 45 there. And it just simply got away from us there at the end. But it was a hard fought game, and again, a sectional opponent could be, and we'll find out Sunday whether or not we play them again, and at some point we may have to face them again. So it was just good to be able to play that game, and then we turned around last night again and played at North Newton on the road, and it's something we've been working with the girls again, as well as goals of shutting people down and not letting them score a certain amount of points. And last night they achieved that goal with keeping them under 30 points, and that's always been a goal of ours for our teams is to do that with the defensive intensity. And so it was nice to be able to accomplish that goal last night.
And I think I remember 4 players in double figures.
Carly Drone had 12. Cadence Mans had 13. Taylor Van Meter had 22 for us. Cameron Rowland had 15. And then you got Lola and Sarah Kaufman, Lola Chanmis and Sarah Kaufman both with 6. And Brooke Heipke with 2, Brody with 1, and Cami Davis with 2. And then, Bailey got in there and just didn't get a chance. So we tried to get everybody to score, but just everybody got to play. Everybody got some good quality minutes and did some really nice things. And, it was good to watch that last night.
That's pretty ideal, that scorebook. I mean, you'd love to see that all the way through here.
Oh, yeah. And
balanced scoring like that.
That balanced scoring, and that's something, like we said last night, that I really believe that we're capable of doing every night. We just got to put it together. And we're young yet, and I don't want to keep using that analogy, but we got the one senior, and everybody else is coming back after this year. And not that we're done with this year yet, but that's something we can continue to build off of and continue to work off of for many years to come.
I want to ask you something. This is
all right. Ask him a tough question. Come on.
Now, this is one that's been bugging me. Whatever happened to the tradition of when your girls come out to start the game, they start beating on that locker room door, and you can hear it reverberating throughout the gym, and then they start playing and Who Let the Dogs Out, and the place just starts getting wild. They seem a little bit subdued from years past.
Well,
where's those traditions gone?
Some of that, I don't know. I guess it kind of goes the same way with coaching. I mean, people have to adapt. Things change a little bit. The atmosphere and the way things are. I mean, heck, you used to have the gyms packed completely to the rim, and now it's hard to even get people to come to the gym sometimes unless either it's a rivalry game or they got nothing else to do. And same aspect, you used to have kids come out and never had to worry about playing just 2 quarters of JV or no JV at all.
Right, yeah.
So, unfortunately, I think it's just the signs of the times, and I know what you're talking about. Where it used to be, one of those things. But there's still some excitement with these girls. They may not, and everybody may not hear it or see it all the time, but they're excited. They're fun to watch, and they'll test you as far as my limits at times. But they are a fun group, and they get excited. I like for them to be a little more excited, and I've even told them out on the bench. I said it's all right to cheer, it's all right to smile. Somebody asked me the other day, why don't the girls smile? I said I don't know. I don't tell them not to. It's not me. I mean, I'm not a big smiler anyway, so it's not. I don't know. I don't tell them not to. So. But I want them to have fun and enjoy it as much as possible. But, yeah, I think those days and those times, may be behind us. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I'll tell you what, you were probably as quiet as I've ever heard you last night. We were
No
sitting
way.
here right up above you, and then you didn't have much to worry about or scream, or you were up and down a little bit, but...
You may not have heard some of the things I had to say. I mean, Brody's sitting over there. I bet she could tell you a few things that I had to say about some things that
we got to mic him up one game.
We saw, and I mean, there's still some things that I, even in a game like that I still get on. It's the small things that we want the girls to get used to doing consistently, and those are the things that you'll hear me get onto most about is, taking care of the basketball, moving the ball more, playing defense, talking, communicating on defense,
making
put
layups.
foul, making layups, finish it, all right? Those things you'll hear me say a lot more than some other things when I pull them to the side and try to get my point across to them even clearer than what I just said. So, there's times when it's appropriate and times not. And last night, it just was one of those games where, the girls seemed to have the confidence in what they needed to do and realized that they missed some shots and had to get the job fixed.
Who's your conference crossover game? Do you like the way that style is with the crossover game or no?
I do. I just wish we could. Our conference is so tough.
It is.
I mean,
he mentioned a record. What did you say the record was?
What's a 70-point or 70% win percentage?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at our conference, now that we are double-digit wins as well,
overall.
The only one that's only one that's not is Lewis Cass. And so, but you look at who they have to face on their side of the bracket in the East. I mean, Northwestern, Hamilton Heights, Western Tipton. I mean, they're all double-figure wins as well. And so, when you look at our conference, it is it's hard. And we could. You look at last year even. Last year we had a really good year, and we still ended up down the bottom of the conference because of BC was really good, CC's really good, and Lafayette, West Lafayette. So now this year we got number 1 Twin Lakes up on our side, and Central Catholic's high up there in 2A, and then BC and West Lafayette are definitely obviously had a lot of success this year as well. So it's just the nature of the beast at this time and where we face. But I love it to the fact of it gets us ready for sectional. It gives us a good measuring stick. Because I can tell you, Lewis Cass, even though they're 7-13, are going to come on Friday, and they're going to give us everything we can handle. They're big, they're fast. I mean, they're playing the same conference as we do, and so they've been battle tested. So it's going to be, and they're well coached, and it's going to be a tough game for us that we can't take for granted. So when you look at our conference, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it's a test, and we're really hoping one of these days and one of these times we can start getting to the top of this conference and eventually win it, because that is one of our goals, to win the conference. And we haven't accomplished it yet, but, I think the highest we've ever finished is like 4th or 5th when Sidney Van Meter's senior year, and we played at Hamilton Heights. And those are goals that we have in mind, that we can get to play some other teams, because normally, I mean, here in the past it's been Western Lewis Cass. So we're really trying to get to the top tier of our conference, but it's not a time where you can take a break in any shape or form. So, and then on top of that, you look at that, 3 of the teams in my sectional are in our own division, the West Division of our conference, and then you throw Western on top of that into that sectional. So
almost like a Hoosier Conference.
Yeah, if you're wanting to find some relief in any of that, good luck, because our sectional is going to be one of the top tough sectionals to come out of the state of Indiana on Sunday when that draw comes out. It doesn't matter who you draw; it's going to be about you got to play. It's going to be, and it can't be have an off game. You're going to have to be at the top form of your playing, and that's the exciting thing for me, coaching these girls. Is I don't think we've reached our full potential. And I think hopefully the game plan and the plan we have is by the time that happens on that sectional game that we are at our very best for those 3 games and can pull off the win that we know we can do.
And you play Saturday too, right?
Yes, we play Saturday. We play at Frontier.
It's 6 days.
Yes, we got it. And then, we play at Frontier, which is going to be a scrappy, hard-fought, well-coached, very quick and scrappy team that are going to put up a lot of 3-point shots, and if they're on, it could be a long night for you. So we've got to go over there and play, and then we come back on Tuesday night against our county rival in KV, and they're playing really well right now, and Coach Bradley's got them playing well, and it's going to be our senior night for Lola. We're going to move it to that night, and so senior night's going to be that night, and then that Thursday is our last home game against Hebron. And Jerry Bechtel is a well-renowned coach. He's been coaching for a long time. He's going to have his girls ready to play. That will just be a varsity game only. So we're looking at Friday night is a varsity game only at 6 o'clock. Saturday will be 2 quarters JV, and then the varsity game after. Tuesday against KV will be 2 quarters JV and then varsity after. And then Thursday, that's it. We just have that full game of varsity at 6 o'clock as well.
When do you start peeking toward the sectional, or do you?
Well, I will Sunday. As a coach, I start, and my coaching staff, we start looking at things and getting game film and preparing ourselves for that. Not so much with the girls, but preparing ourselves for us, what we have to do. And where we need to be at and what things need to be accomplished. So, we'll start that game planning on Sunday when we find out who we play.
JV Lady Bombs, how are they doing? I know they're only playing 2 quarters now.
Well, last night they won 26-6 against in those 2 quarters. They put up 26 points in 2 quarters, so that's pretty good. And they're I'm very, very pleased with them. A lot of them are playing a lot of basketball. Those 2 quarters, basically the 5 of them at this point between Brooke Keipke and Bailey Radke and Cammie Davis and Addison Veldman and Liberty Bate. It's basically they play 5. Those 5 play those 2 quarters, no subs. You just play. And to me, I think it's great. I think it's helped Bailey. I think it's helped Brooke Keipke. I think it's helped Liberty and Addison and Cammie both. It's really helped them to play those games and do those things. So. They're doing a nice job and continuing to improve, and looking forward to a lot of great things for them in the future.
All right, Wes, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it very much. And one question.
Real quick question. It's 7-team sectional at BC, so just 1 bye. Is that right?
That's right. It'll be one bye there. Somebody will get a bye. Somebody will get something there and
Lady Bombers want to buy.
We'll take whatever we can get. We'll take. But either way you got to look at it. You got to do it. You got to get the job done. So if it's a bye, great. If it's not, we got to go 3 games to battle it. Come on with it. Let's go and have some fun with it. And Twin Lakes right now 19-0, 20-0, whatever they are. But the thing is, when Sunday draw comes around, when that game goes, everybody goes back to 0. I mean, and that's just the way I look at it. And that's the way I approach sectional time is it can happen at any moment. You may be on fire the whole time, but, we have to be ready to play, and they have to be ready to play. And then it's you lose, you go home. It's over. So we got to make sure that we're at our very best.
Wes, thanks for the time. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
All right, fellas, thanks.
Wes Radke from the Rensselaer Center Lady Bombers back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Welcome back to the Wednesday night, January 18th edition of What's So Funny Over There.
What you're doing in between the break here?
Of Coach's Cage Show on 3kgthecage.com. And joining us now is very patient coach Chris York, who brought in some of his paraphernalia from practice. Oh my gosh, Coach, you're helping instruct me a little bit.
What were those like, Billy?
You can't. They were perfect. You can't see anything. You're shadowed out. Everything's cut off there.
Tell us what you got there, Coach.
Well,
what is
these are the goggles that my girls wear every day. We do dribble drills, and as long as they don't forget that they're on and they wear them up here, because that happens sometimes. But on all the dribble drills, they put them on, and you can tell which ones really, really struggle because they're the ones that put their heads completely down to look around this part right here. But yeah, I've said
to do, I bet.
that I was going to bring them, and
I'm glad you did.
I almost put them on, but I thought,
I couldn't envision what those things were like.
Yeah, they don't.
Now you know.
They are really slick.
Right, and I said real early in the show. When I first started, I told the girls, it's a round ball. It goes down, it comes straight back up again, but you don't trust it. You're always watching what it's doing, and, then we miss kids down the floor. So
yeah.
It's just it's trying to be a confidence thing, and at some point maybe it'll work.
Coach, you've played a bunch of games already, 21 games already in. Last night was a struggle against Rensselaer Central. Definitely gave them some... a little bit, you battled them. I mean, you had a good first quarter, I thought. Maybe one of your better, but second quarter went downhill. And, of course, obviously a familiar thing against you guys is the turnover. So you just can't get over that this year, and that kills you. You just don't get the shots at the basket. They had I don't know, at least double the amount of shots that you had put up.
Well, I mean, if we're going to start with this first quarter, I mean, we were down 16-7 in the first quarter, and it should have been a lot worse because I heard you talking to Coach Radke that, they missed a lot of shots, and they did. I mean, they had 15 offensive rebounds in the first quarter.
Oh, yeah.
That means that, they're missing shots, but they're not grabbing them. And I talked to the girls about it today. There were 2 possessions in that first quarter where Rensselaer got 2 offensive rebounds. There was one where they got 3, and they closed the first quarter with a 4 offensive rebound possession, which wound up being a basket. And through the kind of the rest of the game, we gave up 29 points in the second quarter, and a lot of those points weren't points that we could defend. They were a turnover, layup, a turnover, layup. A lot of our turnovers during the season, and I told you guys this last night, a lot of the turnovers we've had over the season have been something that goes out of bounds, and then they have to take the ball in bounds and come down and play against our defense to score. Well, these were just all jailbreak, layups. Nothing we could really defend. It was a steal, a score, a steal, a score. So, in that second quarter of their 29 points, I had this written down someplace. I think it was 18 points. In the fourth quarter, they scored 21, and 12 of those points were just steal, layup. So for the game, I called them direct scorers off of turnovers. 42 of their 79 points came from steal, layup, and we can't defend that. We don't have a chance to get in position to do that. So to play any defense, we ran some things fairly well. In the first quarter we were 3 out of 5 shooting. That's 67%. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And but
you got to get more than
60% shooting. Yeah, we got to get more than 5 shots. And then in the second quarter, we still had a bunch of turnovers, but we got 11 shots, but we made 2 of 11. So we didn't shoot very well. And in the third quarter, we got 1, 2, 3. We got 5 shots again because of the turnovers. And in almost the whole second half was the running clock. So at least there was that issue where we, it just shortened up the game. It kind of, didn't quite stop the bleeding, but
those running clocks, you're trying to keep stats. You look up, and all of a sudden it's 30 seconds left in the quarter. Wow.
Yeah. In the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. The first year at Calumet, we didn't get in that situation very much, but last year at Calumet, we were in that situation all the time, and we've been in that situation a lot this year. For me, the biggest issue with the running clock is just trying to get kids in the game. And when I'm in that situation and it's a time to get some people some playing time, it's hard to kind of manage it because before you know it, it's gone.
Right.
So, that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, obviously, in the last couple of years, in the situations I've been, it's a good thing for me. It's a good thing for our teams to not have to endure that entire time with all the stoppages, to just kind of shorten things up. I mean, they call it a mercy rule for a reason, right? So, it has its positives, but trying to get everybody in a little bit, it makes it a little bit tough. Where you're waiting for a dead ball, and sometimes the refs will see it and they'll bring people in, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Chris, obviously the Schliemann girl had another good night scoring. Mm-hmm. You just got to get somebody else to help her out, putting in some points. Is there? I know you mentioned a couple of the gals that you were glad to see, a little bit more aggressive offensively. Mm-hmm. You think that'll keep happening now? You got a couple games left before sectionals.
Well, I hope so. Cheyenne Cahill has started to shoot the ball a little bit more. She's frustrated a little bit by the fact that they're not going in all the time, but she's had a couple games where she's had a couple baskets. Last night she hit a 3-pointer, and I think that might be one of the first ones she's hit all year. So there's that, and Madeline Ehrholtz has had a couple games where she's really taken the ball to the basket. A couple times the ball was really falling from like 15 feet. Lexi Cunningham didn't play last night, but there's been games where she has gotten multiple shots inside, and she's gotten some scoring for us. And June Busboom has hit a few shots in the past. Against Frontier, I think she hit 2 3-pointers in the second quarter. So some of the girls are really starting to shoot more. Dakota Dyer's another sophomore that I don't think I've mentioned on here before, but in this past week or so, just something's kind of clicked, and I see her doing things differently when she's handling the ball. And in the games, whether it be JV or varsity, she's driving to the basket, and she's getting fouled, and she's one of the people that in limited action in the varsity games, she's gone to the free throw line, and she knocks them down. Last night, she was 3 out of 4. So, that's another one. And again, it's a sophomore.
I remember she had a really nice stroke.
Yeah, number 21. It's another sophomore, and we have 2 seniors. I mean, a lot of these other teams, we've talked about it throughout the weeks, a lot of these other teams in the conference, and Rensselaer, they've got 1 senior, so they have everybody coming back. And then here we are. We've got 2 seniors, and they're not like stat stuffer seniors. They're not people that score tons and tons of points. They're not people that have all these rebounds and everything, but they absolutely have some good statistics. But what we're going to miss the most, unless somebody that's an underclassman now, they're just such glue players. They keep everybody together. They try to get everybody to work hard, and they're businesslike, and trying to get everybody else to do that. So that's one of the biggest things that I think we're going to miss next year, unless somebody fastens on, that hard hat and says, come on, this is what it needs to be. Because for right now, those 2 girls are the ones that do that. So, they are absolutely going to be missed after this couple of weeks is over. And it's not because, they're knocking all the stats off the charts. It's the other things. It's those intangible things that help to keep everything together.
Do you talk to your underclassmen and say, hey, kind of pull them over sometimes and say, this is what you got to do next year? You gotta be ready.
I think maybe I just did. I don't know that I've pulled them aside yet, but if any of them listen, then I guess I've just told them that very thing. But obviously that's coming. I mean, we'll have a get-together at the end of the year when everything's done, and that'll be said in front of all the players and their parents and everything else. And just that, for us to move forward from what it's been this year, with 1 returning player, with any real time, all these other girls that have come and played this year have this year under their belts, and this is where they got their experience. It's not JV level experience this year. This was varsity for the first time. So maybe next year you'll be looking for bigger strides. Now that they know what the speed is and all that kind of stuff. Next year will be a year that we hopefully see some big improvements. Hopefully we have a summer. I mean, we didn't have one this year because of when I got the job and when everybody was doing things. Hopefully we have a summer and we can work on the things that we were lacking in this year, the passing, the catching, the dribbling, the shooting. Just stuff like that will be together, and it'll just be different next year.
Coming up Friday night at North White,
Mm-hmm.
another conference game, maybe a game that you guys certainly is going to be closer than it was last night, and a game that you guys can, it should be a dog.
Better get ready to play against the zone, right?
All right. I mean, it's such a different style. His game is so controlled, and I really admire that. I mean, I would like to do such a thing. I mean, he runs when he can. Like when they get a rebound, if somebody's out, they'll go, but he's not going to push beyond what's there. They're going to run their stuff, and they're going to pass it. And when they get an open shot, I've seen games where they knock them down. Now, I have to hope that they're not going to knock those down if they get open shots. But I know that their defense is going to be solid. I know that the game is not going to be high scoring. I mean, I saw their score last night. It was like 65 to
64-59.
Right, and that's not where they want teams to be.
Right.
They don't want teams up in the 60s.
Right.
It's like watching Virginia. If they give up 70 points, they don't win.
Right.
So for DeMott, I'd imagine in that game they were able to kind of get what they wanted to out of their press. That's the only thing that makes any sense. Either that or North White was missing a shot and DeMott was getting the rebound and just jamming it down the floor, because they do have some quickness and they do look to run it out. So that's the only thing I can think of, because Coach Heimlich does not want that score being up there. And, neither one of us are really going to run. So that's one of the things that's going to keep the deficit much different than last night. I mean, it's going to be a game that's much, much closer. But, make no mistake, they're a really, really good team. And I don't care that they're 4 and whatever they are. They're really good. I mean, you just look at their schedule.
Yeah, it's tough.
Their schedule's so tough. I mean, Twin Lakes and just everybody that they've played, they're just good teams. They lost to Rensselaer by 12. I mean, they're just a really good team with a tough schedule, and that's how you get good.
And what's ahead next week?
Wheeler, a team
just
that
one game then.
Yeah, just Wheeler. We'll have a get together on Sunday for the watch party to see who we're going to play. Obviously, heads and tails above everybody is now, I guess, Andrean, because they beat Lake Station last night in kind of a preview, sectional preview. But the rest of the teams in the sectional, I think that we can compete with. So if we get the right kind of draw, it could be really interesting. It would be kind of nice after this kind of season to be playing on Saturday night, regardless of who we're playing. It might be Lake Station or Andrean, but you got to Saturday night, and once you get to Saturday night, you could get to Monday. So, for next week for Wheeler, we'll talk about this probably on Wednesday. But I'm familiar with them. I mentioned it last night that Coach Gregory was at Whiting when I was at Calumet, so we've coached against each other a few times, and the players that were at Wheeler when I was there, they're all gone. So it's not like I'm gonna recognize those players, but it's familiar digs. It's an old PCC foe. It's an old GSSC foe, and it's a familiar gym, which I haven't really been in a lot lately. It's been this barrage of teams I've never played, but that's what's made this so fun, is that you get to add other teams that you've played in the state and different venues, and rather than always being in Lake County, Porter County, and everything. Now branching out and playing these other teams, it's a lot of fun.
Coach, how would you rate Lady Spartans' defense? At this stage of the game, is it improving? Are they?
I think it might be improving a little bit, but I'll be honest. I'm so wrapped up in fundamental pass, catch, dribble that I don't spend near as much time as I ought to on the defensive end, and it shows sometimes. But I've been harping on one of the biggest things we do in our zone is that we don't move until the ball is almost to the girl's hand. Well, when you play a zone, you've got to be moving on the flight of the ball and really getting out. So, I've been really harping on that a lot and hoping that in these next couple of weeks that our intensity really picks up and we play a little bit better. I'm hoping tomorrow night's one of those nights, because they've got those girls that if they're open, they'll hit those shots. They've got a big girl that doesn't play the typical big girl role. She goes outside the three-point line and she hits 15-footers, and she's an outside, very good shooter from the outside. So I would like for the defense to improve, and that'll be something that I really focus on outside of the fundamentals over the summer. It'll be defensive skills. There are some things. We don't have a lot of speed. I would love to be a man-to-man team, but I don't know that we can be because I think we'd foul too much, and I think we get beat off the dribble possibly because we're just not quick enough. But I'm going to be teaching more of that, because if they have better man-to-man principles, they'll be better in the zone. I'll be focusing on that. But for this year right now, with the skill deficit, it's been all those basics, and there's only so many minutes in a practice. So.
Chris, thanks a lot for the time. I appreciate it, and good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Chris York from the North Newton Lady Spartans, back with Ricky Monemeyer from South Newton right after this.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Welcome back to the Coach's Cage Show on 3kgthecage.com. Bill K. Bob Kurtz with you. Joining us now, South Newton coach Ricky Monemeyer. Coach, thanks for hanging with us. Kind of been a long session here.
It has been long.
A lot to talk about.
We'll be here before they close, when they close.
I know. That's what I was wondering. They're cleaning up back here. I didn't know.
I heard the vacuum
rattling back there, yeah.
It's going to be like the games where they start up the blower.
Yeah, exactly.
Blow it all out the door.
Yep.
Coach, you got a bunch of games that want to touch base on at least a little quick. I'll throw it over to you and talk about your past schedule here.
So after the new year, we met on that Wednesday, the night after we played Beecher. So that night, I think I told you guys when I was here, Chase Stillbauer injured his knee on a move to the basket, went down. Our trainer diagnosed it as like a sprained MCL at first. So he didn't play the Friday game against River Forest. And then he was cleared to play a little bit Saturday against North White of that same week.
That's what got hurt again, didn't he?
Hurt his knee again. So he was out. He went to the doctor, I think, last Wednesday. Got an MRI, or maybe it was last Friday, but he got an MRI. Found the results out Monday. Tore his ACL, so he's out first for the year. Very unfortunate. As you guys probably know, one of our better kids as far as just overall skill and being, tenacious. Like, he just gets after it. So that's a tough blow for us. And I feel like the last couple weeks have been a lot of us trying to figure out how to fill that void without him on the court, because he's more of one of our vocal leaders, sets our offenses up usually, gets us going defensively. Small, but like I said, he just gets after it. So it's been tough filling his absence, but I feel like the last couple games we've been doing a little better with certain guys stepping into different roles. So we'll go over games real quick. River Forest, we played them on the 6th. We lost that game 49-35. Leading us in scoring that night was Connor Latta with 9, and then Evan Krug with 8. That was a game that we were pretty competitive in for the majority of that game. I think second half we were just back and forth, and then they pulled away there at the end. But we did score 16 in the fourth quarter, which is pretty good for us with our scoring average. So we felt good going into the North White game. I think you guys covered that game.
We did, yep.
There. So the North White game the next night, JV came out, won, and then we were ready to go varsity-wise, or at least coaches were. And we got there and we just played pretty flat, and especially when Chase played a little bit first, second quarter, and that's when he re-injured his knee. And I think just like the air was lifted out of everybody at that point. I think it was one of those, like, they knew at the time, like, oh, he's probably not coming back kind of thing. But us as coaches, we were trying to be optimistic about it, but just never got anything going. We gave them plenty of opportunities. They were 3 of 13 from the line. They kept us in the game for a long time. We just couldn't get anything going scoring. So leading us in scoring that night, Hoskins was 7. Then on to the next week, we rescheduled Rensselaer for the Tuesday on the 10th, and that was a tough game for us too. Again, matchup-wise, we just don't match up very well with the guards that they have and the style of play that they have, and they came out firing all cylinders right away. They were up 36-12 at half and ended up beating us 57-16. Leading scorer for that game was Evan Krug. He had 4 points, and we had a few guys there with 3 apiece.
And the Illinois run.
Yep, and the Illinois run. So the last 3 games we've had were all Illinois schools for us. Last Friday we played against Milford. They're a pretty good squad. In Illinois, they go regional and then sectional as far as the format of their state tournament. Last year, Milford won the regional, so our sectional, and they returned one of their better kids from last year, and then they've got some decent pieces around him. We just couldn't find an answer for him defensively. He went off for 33 against us.
Wow.
Really good kid. I mean, he was super efficient too. Didn't miss a lot of shots. And it's not like we weren't contesting his shots or guarding him close. He was just on fire. I mean, anything he wanted to do, he was doing. So, props to him. We lost the game 70-42, but I feel like for us, we again grew a little bit. We had a tough second quarter to where they outscored us quite a bit, but we came out battling in the second half, and I think we cut the lead to 12-15 points, but they ended up breaking away again. But the fight and the kids that we just showed some effort, showed some tenacity on the floor, and I think that was a nice sign going forward for us. Like, we've been trying to get kids to play at that level all the time, and it was just nice to see. And then the next night we went over to Clifton Central, another away game. They've got a pretty cool-looking gym. They call it the Crater. It's you walk in and you're kind of above the floor, and it's a bowl setting in the seating. Real old-school-looking gym. Pretty cool. Anyways, we went over there, ended up losing that game 59-33. Another game, we just didn't cut. We came out pretty flat in that game. Illinois rules, I don't know if you guys are familiar. You only get 15 minutes to warm up before the game, which, I mean, it's only 5 minutes, but it's a difference for us because usually we're used to that 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
With us going to away games, typically we don't get there more than 45 minutes before the JV game starts. So our kids didn't get a lot of shots up before the game, and that kind of just carried over to the game. It just seemed like we were tired from the night before. I don't know. But not much to say. I mean,
yeah.
we just one of those nights. And then last night we played against Cissna Park at home. It was only our 4th home game this year, I think, so far for the season. And that was a battle. We were down 5 at half. They had a big third quarter against us, and then fourth quarter we really battled back and outscored them by 11 in that quarter. Cut the lead to 5, but ended up losing by 6. Leading us in scoring last night were Evan Krug with 11, and then Corbin Cruz with 7, which Corbin's been a kid lately, or the last few years, that has not been a scoring threat. But the last 2 or 3 games, he's been making an effort to attack the rim and try to make things happen. So that's been nice to see for us, to see him grow a little bit in that aspect.
Sure, and then maybe other teammates see that and say,
yeah,
just do the same likewise, and
it
builds from there. We keep saying that, you guys are gonna crank that win column.
I'm hoping. I said the second half of the schedule is a little easier for us as far as just other teams' win-loss record, talent that they have, that kind of stuff. So I fully expect us to be competitive and win a few games here before sectional time. I've told the kids last night, I'm like, I do care, but I don't care if we don't win a game the rest of the year, and then we're ready to play sectional time, and we're playing our best basketball at that point, because anything can happen sectional time. I know I'm pretty sure when I was in school, Caston went into the sectional like 2 wins on the year, and they won sectional. So, I mean, it's possible. Anything can happen at that point. There's no true favorite in the sectional, I feel like. Everybody's pretty balanced for the most part. Frontier's probably beat everybody in the sectional so far, but outside of that, I mean, it's pretty wide open. So if we go in there playing our best basketball, we have a chance to compete.
They lead the sectional field with the 6-5 overall mark.
Yep.
That's not, definitely something that can't be knocked off.
No. And, they beat Caston early this year. They beat North White. They beat us. We were pretty competitive with Frontier for the most part, besides I think third quarter again was another. They went off and just outscored us by 15 or so points. So if we can get rid of that one quarter where we just – it's not that we're not trying or not giving effort, but it seems like they give a little more or are just more efficient offensively than we are, and we just don't score the ball. If we get rid of that one quarter for a game, we'll be in good shape because when we play 4 quarters, we compete. I mean, last night we gave up a bad quarter, but we still competed all the way to the end, and we fought back. We showed that we can be resilient and be in games late even if we're, down double digits. Like going down 17 and going into the 4th last night, we cut the lead to 5. So kids are battling, they're trying, and that's all we can ask for them right now.
How's the attitude of your ball club?
It's been better, especially after last night. Like we were, not to celebrate a loss, but we were like, you guys, like this is exactly what we were talking about. This is the kind of stuff that is going to help us win games this year if you just put a whole game together. So effort was good. Attitude was good. I thought, Corbin Cruz probably had his best game of the year with scoring and then defensively. He was just getting after us. So it's nice to see. But attitude's been better. I think practice today was pretty good. It just depends on the day for some of our kids with everything that's been going on for the last couple months. So some days it's good, some days it's bad, some days the kids just aren't mentally there. It's been a struggle for everybody, but we're pushing through. We're trying to make the best of this season.
Well, I know your next game because we'll have it on 3KG, the Cage, Friday night at home against DeMont Christian.
Yep.
Give us a scouter report there.
Pretty solid. They've got a lot of guys back from last year. The Miller kids still shooting the ball as far as I know. They were pretty competitive with North Newton this year, and then they went and beat Tri-County, correct? I think is what I saw. I think that's the two. You probably don't have it, but I think that's the two that I can think of, the conference games that they played so far.
58-43, they beat Tri-County on January 6th.
So, I expect us to be competitive. It's at home. We should have a good crowd. It's Friday night. We've got to be competitive. We tell the kids all the day, every day, no matter what drill you're in, no matter what setting in, you got to be competitive and just give your best effort because then anything can happen. So,
you were never on teams that struggled this mightily, were you, in your high school days?
Yeah, I was.
You were?
Yep. So at South Newton, my sophomore, junior year, we didn't win a game.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I don't remember that back.
Yep. So I think we were at
your senior year, Mike Hall came back, right?
Yep. Mike Hall came back
That's when
my
you
senior year. We won
turned
2
things
games
around.
that year.
Yeah.
Just not a lot of skill in our classes, and I feel like everybody around us had some decent teams. Like Rensselaer always competitive. Our conference, we had Pioneer, we had 4 or 5 kids that were all conference that year. Frontier was always pretty decent. West Central had some athletes. So, I feel like at my time playing, everybody around us had pretty solid teams for the most part, and we just weren't really a basketball team, basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
More so football, more so
yeah.
baseball. Like we just not much of a basketball school at the time. So.
All right, Ricky, we'll see you Friday night, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Ricky Monemeyer from the South Newton Rebels, back with the closer, Chad Pulver, right after this on 3KGthecage.com.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117 or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics. Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Coach's Kage Show on 3KG, thekage.com. Joining us now is Rensselaer Central coach Chad Pulver of the Bomber Boys. And Coach, we just mentioned, came off a tough loss at Couts. Couts is always a tough out for a small school, man. They just, I don't know, they seem to have a lot of our local teams' number, just year after year after. I don't know how they do it.
They have a good fundamental squad. They can shoot. They can cut hard. They have good ball handlers. They were able to, in the fourth quarter, go into a stall tactic with about 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And even though it was a 1-point game, it spreads the floor out and it eats possessions. And so we're a team that, if you're going to give us a lot of possessions, we're going to take advantage of them. And so they cut down the number of possessions that we had options and were able to get to. And so in that, with that being said, we still had opportunities and we didn't execute when we needed to down the stretch, and some plays that didn't work out very well, a couple missed shots, and that put them at the line because we were trying to foul to get possessions. And I think their last 8 points of the game were all free throws, so they had to make free throws in order for that to happen. But that, they are a tough place to play. It was their Hall of Fame night. It's a packed gym. They had a band in. They had the dance crew in. I mean, it was a nice atmosphere. It's a good place to play. We just didn't come out on top.
We skipped over, which was a lot better of an outing for you, a big win over West Lafayette. Anytime you knock off the Red Devils, that's
thrilling finish too, right?
It was a very nice finish for us. We had come into that game and really had done some things very well in the first half. Had taken control of the game, taken control of the pace. Third quarter kind of let it slip away from us a little bit. They started to hit some shots. They're a good shooting team, and they did hit some shots. And with those shots going down, put some pressure on us. And so it forced us to have to make crunch time plays in the fourth quarter. And we hit a big three-pointer, and then that cut the lead down to 1. And then forced them into an out-of-bounds play on the sideline, and ended up getting a tip and a steal to get a layup at the end.
Right near was that the buzzer? A buzzer beater or no?
No, it was not a buzzer beater, but the tip and the steal put us up by 1 point. We were down by 1, and then we made the steal, made the bucket, put us up by 1, and then got a stop, and then we were able to hit free throws, put us up by 3. And then in that last possession, we held defensive possession, and they didn't get a shot off before the buzzer, and so they didn't even get the attempt to tie the game with 3.
Nice little celebration after the game too.
It was the boys were very excited. I mean, they worked very hard for that win. I think the fans that were there that night realized how hard that game was. It's a sectional opponent. It's a Hoosier Conference opponent. A little bit of redemption. They beat us by 3 points earlier this year in the Hoops Classic. So, when you get a 3-for-1 in a team like that, where you get them back from earlier in the season, you know that you've got conference with them. And, oh, by the way, we're going to probably see you in sectional. It's an important thing that you can pull it out. And we did. And I thought that was good for us.
What was the difference between the game Saturday night or Friday night and the previous time you met them?
Honestly, it came down to us pressuring them a little bit differently. When we played them the first time, it took us about 3 quarters to really feel out where we could get our pressure on them. I think our guys were expecting them to be a little bit more drive us a little bit more than they did, and when they ended up hurting us is they had their 2 guards scored 51 of their 60 points. I mean, they were knockdown shooters, and we kept expecting them to drive, and they weren't driving. They were just kicking and shooting, and once they got in a rhythm, they were very difficult to put up a lot of points. So we made the determination of we're not going to allow that to happen again, and it put them in a different place. And they have a good, strong, athletic team. They know how to shoot. And so when that third quarter rolled around, we knew that they were going to make some shots. So we had to weather that storm. And I feel like our boys were much better prepared for that. They knew how to take it in stride, and that when the run happened, we pushed back at them. We looked at it as it's 4 points. 4 points is manageable. Let's go right back at them. And so when we kept doing that, I think that put more pressure on West Lafayette. I think we were the home team. They're not supposed to lose to us. So then they started to tighten up a little bit more.
Who played well for you both nights?
We had a number of guys that played well. So Colby Chapman had a great night. Tristan Wietrich had a really strong night. Tristan's 13 points in the game, 11 of them came in the second half.
Whoa.
And so, I mean, he really was able to find some openings in the second half. Colby had one of those games where he was present throughout the game, distributing the ball, moving the ball, taking care of the ball. Down low, Noel Marchand had a really good night on both games of just being in there, taking up space, getting rebounds. We had one point in the Couch game where he came off the floor and we gave up offensive possession rebounds multiple times, and so his energy is really important for us. And so we're continuing to try to find those lineups that will protect each other. And so when we have to get people some rest or let them refresh their legs a little bit, that we're not falling off a cliff like that. That's really difficult to come back from when we allow runs where I think it was at one point we might have been up 8 points, and then through offensive rebounds and a couple bad plays, it ties the game up. And those are frustrating, and those are energy sappers. And so when we're playing well, we're running the ball well on offense. We're high intensity on defense, and we're getting the turnovers that help us maintain and control the pace of the game.
All right. This week, what do we have?
We have North Judson on Friday at North Judson, and then we host West Central on Saturdays.
We'll have that.
Neither are gimmies, are they?
Yeah.
No. We're going to have to play. And North Judson is always a battle. It's usually a hard-fought, bloody game, and we have to get ourselves through it. I think that we are in a position to be able to go on their floor and win. I think that historically it's always been almost 1 year on, 1 year off, and we do know our players know their players very well. I mean, they were in youth leagues together. They've played each other for a lot of years. And so the North Judson squad is they're very athletic. They're very quick. They can shoot. They're fundamentally sound. And so it will be a really good challenge for us. And that's what we need. We need to have challenging games to help us prepare for where we need to be at the end of the season.
And we saw West Central Saturday night or last week against Tri-County. And their two guards, White and Naniga, they control the ball all the time.
They do. They're very quick. They're shifty, and they're able to use the space to their advantage. And so we have to make sure that we're taking care of business the right way.
JV Bombers, how are we doing?
JV Bombers, it did well. They won the game against Westside on Friday night. Really tight game. They went into the fourth quarter 10 points up, and then as Westside usually does, they came in and hit some threes and turned it into a game down to the buzzer, but our JV held court. We're able to get that win. And then on Saturday night, they had a game that was very similar to ours. It was a tight game. It was back and forth, just couldn't pull the win out. So they won on Friday, lost on Saturday. But I think that they are continuing to grow their skill level, which is what we really want. We want them to get better understanding. We want them to move the ball around. We want them to work well together. And I think as they're doing that, where they are now is a very different place than where they started in November. And so I feel very good about their progress. We have some guys that have progressed well. Brian Camarina, for example, has moved more and more time up to the varsity level with us, and so that changes what happens at the JV level. And so finding guys to step into that role or how that's going to work, it's an important part of the process. And so a JV schedule suddenly changes when you take away guys that you can normally rely on for 12 to 14 points. You pull them out of the lineup, and now you've got to find it from somewhere else. And, oh, by the way, you don't have a summer to get it ready. You got to do it now. So that kind of stuff happens quickly in a JV.
Are the middle school seasons over with now?
The middle school, we have, I think, 2 or 3 more weeks of the 7th grade, 8th grade boys, and then the 6th grade boys are finished. But the 7th and 8th grade boys, I believe, were in the last 2 or 3 weeks of their...
Get good participation down there?
The 7th grade has a good number of kids. I believe they still have an A and a B squad that runs regularly. 7th grade has a lot of numbers, a lot of talent. 9th not real tall kids, and then the 8th grade has lesser numbers, a little bit more size, and so I hope that we get the goal for what we're doing, trying to get going forward is if you fast forward to that junior and senior year, can we keep 3 to 4 of those kids involved every year? If we can do that, it keeps us from having what we had for a long time, which is 2 seniors, 2 seniors, 2 seniors. I mean, this senior class is really unique. We've got 6 seniors, and so that's something that's really important for us. Sure. Next year, if we hold on to our juniors, we'll have more than 2. And I think that's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the program healthy. We're trying to make sure that guys are involved and that they realize that they have a value to what we're doing. And so if we get the players to realize what their value is, other than maybe what they hear from home about they need to score more or they need to do something, that they have a value other than what the stats may say sometimes. And so I hope that as we're doing this, we get that to be better and better for our program.
Coach, I'm looking at the Hoosier Conference standings. You guys still have a good shot here. You got Benton Central coming up on your future games, and they're ahead of you by 1 game, but 2-1. You still kind of really control where you're going to be, aren't you?
We can be at the top part of that crossover game, which is important. They have an unusual tiebreaker system. It has to do with what class schools you play and whether you win at a class or lose at a class. And so if we don't win it outright, if it's a tie, the way our season stacks up, I don't know that we come out on top on our side. So what we have to get a little bit of help for someone to knock down BC, and then we need to beat BC. But if we do that, we're in a good shape. And so I that would be fun. We haven't won 2 or 3. I don't think that we've won 3 conference games in a while. And so that would be a really nice thing for us this year to get that 3rd conference win and go into that crossover playing for that 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, 4th spot. That would be a change of pace a little bit. And so that would be a really good accomplishment for us. We wanted really to be able to say that we had beaten Central Catholic as well. That just didn't work out. So being able to take care of Twin Lakes, who now has a winning record, and then being able to take care of Westside this last weekend at least puts us in a position to where if we beat BC, we have a chance to play for that crossover game in that top spot or the 3rd, 4th spot.
Well, Billy, we're getting evil stares from the Arnie's workers, so we better get out of here before they
we're on our welcome.
Shut the thing. So, Chad, thanks a lot. We'll see you Saturday night. We'll have the game for you right here on 3KG. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
all right.
Coach.
Bye-bye.
We'll do it from here. We got to get out of here. Thank Arnie's. Thank the sponsors. And Friday night, South Newton hosting DeMott Christian. Saturday, West Central at Rensselaer. So long, everybody.
The proceeding was a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.